Partly cloudy and 16 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience to treat those niggling injuries. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A woman remains behind bars after being charged with child neglect offences. More from Mel Usher.
Police allegedly found an 18-month-old girl at the family home in Whyalla last week with a nappy so full it was overflowing. It also had live maggots in it. Removing the nappy revealed her skin was peeling and she had infected wounds. Her 24-year-old mother was arrested on Friday and charged with aggravated criminal neglect and aggravated endangering life. 2 children in her care were taken to hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries. She fronted court yesterday. During the hearing, a bail inquiry was ordered for the woman, who also has a 5-year-old son. She'll be back in court on July 31.
In Victoria, the search continues for an opportunistic thief who stole a family car with a toddler in the back seat at Dandenong yesterday. The 2-year-old was found 70 minutes later wandering the shelves of a supermarket 16 kilometres away. The car still hasn't been found. Holidays, entertainment and a morning coffee are most likely to be cut back on by households looking to save money as the cost of living continues to bite. NAB data shows we're less inclined to ease spending on our pets, children and insurance. People making cuts to eating out at restaurants and trips to the movies are saving an average of nearly $300 a month. New modelling suggests China's punitive trade sanctions on Australian products haven't drastically affected the economy. Emily Minnie explains.
There were initial fears taxes slapped on goods like barley, wine and coal in 2020 would cost tens of billions of dollars in lost export earnings. But Productivity Commission data suggests that figure is closer to $225 million, less than 1% of GDP. The Australian reports trade restrictions have had virtually no effect on the economy because exporters were able to sell products to other markets. Lobsters were sold to Hong Kong, Taiwan and Vietnam, while coal was sold to India and Japan.
Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated from parts of Greece as firefighters continue to battle wildfires. The country's in the grip of a heatwave with temperatures reaching as high as 45 degrees. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis says the nation's at war with the blazes.
We must all remain on constant alert. I know very well that my words may sound trite, but they are sincere. They describe what I experienced in recent days. We are currently at war, completely focused on the fire.
The familiar blue bird that's been Twitter's logo is being replaced by the letter X. The change is effective as of today. Tech expert Trevor Long believes Elon Musk purchased Twitter to get an instant database.
He didn't buy a platform, he bought the user base because his goal is for this X to be an app that we use for trading, buying, selling, for transferring money. He doesn't believe we need banks in the future. He believes that X can be everything.
And actress and singer Jane Birkin has been farewelled at a funeral in Paris. The 76-year-old died last week after a battle with cancer. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Well, Adelaide has been dealt a cruel blow, losing another key defender, Nick Murray, to a serious knee injury. Scans have revealed he's ruptured the ACL in his left knee, meaning he's set to miss around 12 months of footy. Teammate Riley Thilthorpe telling Timmy G it's tough for the 22-year-old.
That's a huge blow for us, especially with Tommy out with the same thing. But luckily we've got a lot of depth in our sample team, and I'm sure we'll be all right. But yeah, it's a huge loss.
And the Crows will be without Isaac Rankin for 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury after he was forced off the ground late in the match against Melbourne. Meantime, Carlton has ruled out 2 of its biggest stars for Friday's blockbuster clash with Collingwood at the MCG. Sam Walsh will miss up to 3 games with a hamstring injury, while Jack Silvani is sidelined for an indefinite period with a sprained knee. Well, the Matildas will be going all out for victory against Nigeria so they can rest some stars from their final pool game. A win over the African side on Thursday night would all but guarantee Australia finishes on top of Group B. Midfielder Kyra Cooney-Cross says they want to grab all 3 points in Brisbane.
Nigeria is probably the most important game to win because it would be nice to come first in the group stage, and then maybe if we win we can rest some players versus Canada.
And the first match of the FIFA Women's World Cup was held in Adelaide last night with Brazil beating Panama 4-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Breaking news. Huge sale at Elite Betting Edwardstown. Up to $500 discount on a queen or king mattress.
Partly cloudy and 16 today, sunny tomorrow 17, showers on Thursday 18 and showers easing on Friday 16, at the moment 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Test drive the Cherry Emoda 5 at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Go Cherry.
6:06, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday. It's the 25th of July on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up this morning, are you looking for a job? How about one that pays in excess of $50 an hour and you don't need any expertise? Well, those jobs are on offer at the Royal Show that is now 38 days away, I think, by my calculations.
Well,
there are jobs on offer at the Royal Show. They're looking for people. The CEO of the Royal Agricultural and Horticultural Society will join us before 7 o'clock. If you're looking for a part-time, short-term gig that can earn you a fairly decent whack of cash, you'll find out more information about that just before 7 o'clock this morning. After 7:30, Phil Curry in the nation's capital. We've got Lucy's Mover Review coming up a little bit later. And, of course, we'll get you across all the goings-on around Adelaide, Australia and the world. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. We have started most of the shows over the last month saying if you are in bed, stay there. Well, got reverse advice this morning. If you feel like going for a morning constitutional, maybe getting your dog out of the laundry or the kennel and taking Fido for a stroll. Today's is arguably the best day we've had in weeks to do it. It's balmy out there.
Well, it never got lower overnight. This shocked me. Than 11.4 degrees. So 27 minutes ago was the coldest it has been all night, 11.4 degrees. So, you know,
a nice couple of days too. We've got sun today and tomorrow, no rain. So it's going to be good weather for the garden.
You bump into people, so much of the weather, especially when it comes to travel, is psychological as well. But you bump into a lot of people this time of year that have just come back from Queensland or places and say, oh, you know, rude shock to the system coming back to Adelaide. Yes, it has been. That's not arguable. But right now, there's 1 degree that separates Adelaide and Brisbane temperature-wise.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So if you're waking up at this time of morning up there, you'd probably be thinking to yourself, beautiful Queensland.
Maybe it's because
not that different.
All the Brazilians,
today, anyway.
all the Brazilians in town, they've lifted the temperature.
Wasn't that unbelievable last night?
If you were there, folks, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000. My son Jim and my wife went along together. Kate got tickets, and they came home, and the first thing Kate said was, "I can't get the sound of the drums out of my head." It was more like the Brazilian Mardi Gras than a soccer match than what we're used to seeing at Hindmarsh. They know how to put on a show, the Brazilians. And I'm talking there not just about the team, but the people of Brazil.
Oh, I didn't realise, because Hindmarsh is not a massive stadium. You only had, 18,000 people there or something.
Not even. I think it was 13,000, wasn't it?
Oh, I think it was a bit more than that.
Yeah, okay.
We'll
double check that.
Yeah, we'll check that. So I wasn't expecting necessarily this huge amount of people from overseas, but they had a party at the Gov. I think it was the Gov.
Yeah.
To get started, to get warmed up. And then they went on a march from the Gov to Hindmarsh Stadium. And in the process, they surrounded where the Channel 7 building was. So at the end of the news last night, I came out of doing updates. And everyone's still sort of milling around going, well, no one can get their car
There's
out.
all these people doing the samba in front of you.
The Brazilians are doing a sort of, impromptu Mardi Gras from the Gov to Hindmarsh, which is not a long distance, but they just gather around having the party of their life.
It's fantastic.
Looked like Adelaide looked like Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
Well, that part of Adelaide did.
Well, there's quite a large expat Brazilian community in Sydney. They love Sydney, and a lot of them flew over for it on the weekend. We've always had this sort of big backpacker contingent too, who come and stay. And interesting in the context of the Royal Show, because in the past, like when we've done our outside broadcasts at the show, when we've broadcast from the CWA headquarters and so on.
Yep.
Often the people that you meet who are out there churning the batter for the Dagwood dogs and so forth, in that giant industrial vat that they use to accommodate the staggering number of frankfurts that get consumed during the week of the show. I reckon every second person is a 20-something Brazilian. Like so many of them
Yeah.
have been backpackers, which is interesting, given in the sort of post-COVID era, finding staff for those jobs is easier said than done. So it's going to be interesting chatting later to Will Rayner from the Royal Show, because they might still be struggling to fill those positions.
Well, they are. There's heaps of jobs available, and they pay good money, $54 an hour for some pretty basic labouring sort of tasks.
Yeah.
Have a listen to the Brazilians. I mean, they know how to do sport, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
In part. When it's happy, it's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they sung and danced, played drums all night.
It's cool music. Like, so much of the music from Brazil that became popular, we were talking the other day about the death of Astrid Gilberto. Like, so much of it comes from that type of singing. Sort of village-based, community-based sort of folk songs that ended up, inspiring like the Bossa Nova and Tropicalia movements of the 60s and 70s. But, yeah, good that Adelaide's part of it. And I was sort of wondering last night, I know we had a disastrous World Cup bid where FIFA, pack of shonks that they were, had already got Qatar and Russia lined up to do it. But at some point you'd have to think in our lifetime we are going to host the Men's World Cup.
It's a pretty good audition, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
You'd think.
It's terrific. The only problem, though, is the time difference.
Yeah, which is not it's
for the European audience and the American audience, and by America I mean both parts of America, North and South. Are they going to want to do what we do every 4 years and wake up at 2 a.m.?
No, they're not accustomed to it. They've never had to do it. They're the biggest audience for it. I mean, that's a huge reason why it hasn't happened here.
That's almost the reason, I think.
Yeah, and I actually think there's a psychological issue with the travel component of it as well that we don't think twice about. But when they have a World Cup that's hosted in Germany, you travel to get to all the stadiums and the various groups. You're not travelling that far. When you're hosting it in Australia, they would look at that and go, "Well, this is like a World Cup being hosted in France, Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Belarus."
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is like, as a nation, we've got a completely warped sense of distance.
Correct.
Like we're so used to travelling, like driving to Melbourne. You think, oh yeah, that's a short drive. Like I regard the Melbourne drive as a short one. The Sydney one's the long one. The Melbourne one's an easy one. It's one day. But yeah, like so we host the World Cup, and you're a German fan. So Gunter sitting in Hamburg with his 2034 World Cup Australia guide. First thing he's going to do is open the travel details section and go, hang on, it says here it takes 13 hours to get to Singapore and then another 6.5 to get to Adelaide. To him, that would sound like the stupidest thing ever.
Well,
whereas to us, it's like, I mean, the other day when we went to Singapore, I said, okay, geez, that flight's quick. Like a 6.5 hour flight as an Australian, you feel like you've won lotto, only being on a plane for 6.5 hours.
Absolutely.
And it's one of the reasons why Bali's so popular.
Yeah. 14 minutes after 6, our number is 8223 You can interact with the program by texting us too on the Duttons text line, 0480 1395. Thanks to the Volkswagen Tiguan All-Space, the 7-seater that's perfect for weekends away, camping trips and the crazy Saturday sports rush. Or if you're feeling bold, jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream and leave us your thoughts there.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
It's Cyber Safety Awareness Month at Harvey Norman. For a limited time, they're giving away a free $50 cyber safety voucher that you can use towards any cybersecurity product. Use your voucher for the Norton 360 Premium, a 1-year subscription for one device, or the Trend Micro Device Security Pro. The best part? You can get either of these premium cybersecurity products for $0 with the voucher. It's more important than ever to safeguard your digital life, whether you're browsing the web, shopping online, or accessing your favourite social media platforms. Protect yourself and your devices with industry-leading cybersecurity solutions Hurry, this fantastic deal ends on August 17th. Take control of your online safety today by visiting Harvey Norman.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
When you're older, community and companionship can add greatly to your overall health and well-being. RDNS Silver Chain can help you stay connected with friends, family and even your hobbies. Our specialist care team can even provide support and a friendly chat at home. For almost 130 years, we've helped South Australians maintain their independence. So for social support, home delivered, call 1300 364 264. RDNS Silver Chain. Health, human, home.
If you thought it was tricky to source a great deal on a new Volkswagen, think again. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's demo clearance is on now. We've loaded up on a massive range of demo Volkswagens available for delivery right now. Loads of colours, loads of options, plus on-site finance options available. And remember, we offer next day servicing too. So hurry, the Volkswagen demo clearance won't last. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry Motor 5, state-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
70 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Tuesday morning. There's another case of meningococcal disease in South Australia. A 55-year-old man from regional SA has been admitted to hospital as in a stable condition. 17 cases reported in South Australia this year. It feels like we're getting one at the moment every three days. Really concerning. We might speak to SA Health about that. The FIFA Women's World Cup tournament has surpassed the target number of ticket sales sold at the last event in France. More than 1.5 million tickets have been sold at the event hosted jointly by Australia and New Zealand. Australia accounts for 1.1 million of the 1.5.
Yeah, it's a pity. The fact that, apart from the Australia games, though, you need to stuff around with the Optus. I worked out how to do it last night. But for the average punter, like, you know, because it's $25 a month. $25 a month to subscribe to that Optus app.
Can you just sign up for a month? Or does it? Yes,
you can. But for a lot of people, why do I have to pay $25 to watch a few soccer matches? You know, and if you do sign up, you've got to remember to unsign.
That's the trick.
Because the old credit card, how often does that happen? You think, what's this $4.95 thing here?
Best thing we ever did recently. Best thing that ever happened to us recently. We changed banks. Part of the change home line, chase a better interest rate type situation.
Yeah, right. How long did that take you?
I don't know. I aged years in between the process starting and stopping.
How many times did you sign your name?
Oh my God! Geez, they make it as hard as humanly possible and as desperately unenjoyable as humanly possible. But in the process, the credit card changed over, and I started getting these notifications from companies going, "Your direct debit hasn't worked. Your subscription to this is," and I'm thinking, what? I think I had that 15 years ago. I've always been paying for.
Oh, really?
You know, at a cost of $4.99 a year.
Well, you know, in the midst of a cost of living squeeze, though, for a lot of families, particularly with kids, technology is like a generation ago, it wasn't a factor. You know, now the costs related to technology, phone replacement, all of that, it's off the charts.
It is extraordinary. Wildfires are continuing to burn in Greece, with the nation in the grips of a heat wave. 19,000 people, mainly tourists, were evacuated from the resort island of Rhodes over the weekend. There are fresh evacuation orders for the islands of Corfu and FIVEAA. This tourist that we're about to listen to has just returned from Britain and described his experience.
It was get to the beach. At that point, when you was on the beach, you just had to dump your luggage because you couldn't drag it across the sand. So, yeah, and as you look behind you, it was just coming over. You know, the mountain.
Staggering, isn't it? It is just awful.
So there's massive fires in Algeria too. There's been about 25 people have lost their lives in the past 2 days. A lot of them are soldiers trying to fight the fires. Terrible.
Awful. International swimming bodies are preparing to push ahead staging an event for elite transgender athletes. The world first competition will take place later this year at a yet-to-be-named location. The announcement is expected today during the World Aquatics Annual Congress in Japan.
So, how's that going to work? How many elite trans swimmers are there? So much so that FINA thinks that they merit a international competition. And then how do you divide them up as per the way? And I'm certainly not saying that being trans is a form of disability. But if you look at the Paralympics,
there's categories.
So are there going to be categories for the chap who's just decided overnight?
I don't think they do, but I don't think that's their belief system. I don't think they do categories.
And then the person who's sort of fully transitioned.
No, I don't think that, because I think they would say that they don't do that segregation. It's the whole.
But you could have a trans woman who, what's the right term? Trans man. Trans woman.
I don't know.
So you can have a trans woman who's been a woman for 20 years versus some testosterone-fueled bloke in a dress.
Isn't that their whole thing, though? That it's not about...
If you say you're a woman, then you're a woman.
Isn't that the whole point?
I'll tell you what, are they going to televise it? It'll be a wild old night's viewing.
I actually think, isn't it the most logical answer to the problem of traditional classification? Have a totally different event.
Yeah.
I think this is the best result.
Yeah.
This is the best result. A report suggests China's trade restrictions on Australian products have virtually had no effect on the economy. This is great, this story in the Oz.
Yeah.
There were initial fears taxes slapped on goods like barley, wine and coal in 2020 would cost tens of billions of dollars in lost export earnings. But the Productivity Commission has revealed some modelling which shows the sanctions reduced GDP by less than 1%, or about $225 million. I think that's a bad week at the moment.
But is that because at the same time things like coal and iron surged so much? I mean, from my reading, Jim Chalmers, the Treasurer, is about to announce a $20 billion surplus. Now, as talented an essayist as he is, I'm not putting any of that down to Jim's genius.
Oh, absolutely.
I reckon you and I could have done that.
Yeah, that's just commodity price.
That's just Western Australia. Every time they turn over a rock over there, you become a multimillionaire. So, I don't know. I wonder, and I know we've got a lot of listeners who work in the wine industry. I think they would read this report and go, that's not quite how it was for us.
Maybe not. Maybe they were more exposed than others, but it sounds like plenty of other places were able to diversify pretty reasonably easily.
Yeah.
At not too great a loss.
Let us know, folks, particularly if you're in the wine caper.
Twitter has officially been rebranded as X. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know if it's X. I don't know if it's 10. It's a symbol X. Maybe a bit like Prince. It's the platform previously known as Twitter.
So like a Roman X.
Yeah. Well, it's an X. I don't know what. I don't know beyond that. I don't know. Nothing's really been explained. But this is Elon Musk we're dealing with. The iconic blue bird logo has been replaced by the letter X. And tech expert Trevor Long says it's part of Musk's plan to make Twitter a sort of super app.
He didn't buy a platform, he bought the user base, because his goal is for this X to be an app that we use for trading, buying, selling, for transferring money. He doesn't believe we need banks in the future. He believes that X can be everything.
I think it feels to me like it's particularly ambitious to imagine an app where you can tweet something about the football score on the weekend and get responded to by a litany of Russian bots and phishing accounts and cryptocurrency scams is the kind of place you're going to want to park your life savings at some point in time.
I got followed the other day by someone, and often as a matter of course, I just hit follow back. And the split second I did it, I hadn't even looked. I got a direct message from him saying, "Hey, how are you? Would you like to catch up at some time?" And it was this porn thing. I went, oh, jeez. You can't escape it.
Well, there you go.
Hand on heart, I wasn't looking for it. So I unfriended that person.
The exciting thing is that
woman of easy virtue.
Your porno friend might become your new bank manager.
Oh, I know.
How exciting is that?
You know, I'm not going to send you any photographs of myself, but here's $500.
11.4 degrees outside the city at the moment, top of 16 today. Partly cloudy. Nice day, actually. Light winds, should be really clear. Tomorrow, even better, 17 and sunny. Then it gets wet on Thursday, up to 8 mils of rain, 18. Friday, 16 and drizzly. Saturday and Sunday, clear, though. Both days, 17. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio with us. Get 10-year warranty, 10-year cap price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. I thought he had cleverly avoided whether or not he'd actually answered the text message there, David, but he did say that he unfriended the person, so I assume it means he didn't
I didn't want to drill down too deep on that one, Rennie.
What a dreadful mix-up.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the cover story would have withstood sustained questioning.
Yeah, exactly.
Cover story.
Now, boys, the World Cup came to Adelaide last night with Brazil and Panama. Great atmosphere, a couple of beautiful goals in there as well from Brazil.
Goodness.
They won 4-0, which was outstanding. The Socceroos, of course, play against Nigeria on Thursday night. Fascinated to get your thoughts. And I think it's great. Like, the exposure, the fact we're talking about it constantly is great for the Matildas. But when there's pressure and you're hosting a home tournament, how much does that play on your relationship with the media? And Kyra Cooney-Cross yesterday had a press conference and said, oh, it's unfortunate Sam Kerr's torn her calf. And the PR machine afterwards was in a flap, in a spin, to point out that she's misspoken, and she hadn't, torn her calf, and that, it's all, being confused in translation. On top of that, Tamika Yallop copped the knock in the game against France, the game before the World Cup started. And they said, she has got a bit of an injury. And the journalist in Brisbane said, okay, so what's the issue? Is it a knee? No, I can't say. Is it a calf? No, I can't say.
Oh, they're not revealing anything.
Is it a quad? No. So what's wrong? She's physically restricted. And they said, oh, come on, we need a little bit more than that. Okay, there is a physical restriction. Well, all you've done is change it to restricted restriction. I just don't know why. We've seen it time and again. The Crows did it for a while there, didn't they, where, that transparency.
Hamstring awareness.
I just think it puts...
awareness, yeah. It's like when you see an abandoned car on the side of the road, it says police aware on it.
I just don't know how many times it works where...
Hamstring aware.
Trying to withhold or being deliberately evasive serves you well.
Well, I think organisations, sort of, their personality is defined right from the very top. FIFA are about the worst. Like, they are just shockers.
Yeah.
I mean, was that Infantino... halfway. Is he still kicking around?
Infantino, yeah, he did today I feel so-and-so.
I feel gay.
Yeah. He made a joke about it at the start of the FIFA Women's World Cup.
That's right.
I kind of get... Well, I don't get it. But the management of the Matildas seem terrified that Australians are only interested in Sam Kerr.
Yes.
Which I think Australians have proven that's not the case.
Exactly.
The show, the first game rated the house down. People loved it.
In a perverse
sold
kind
out.
of way, like as sad as it was for Sam Kerr, it actually made the game kind of interesting, and it showed that our knowledge and appreciation of them as a team is getting deeper.
That's right.
Because in the past, it's like, oh, that Sam Kerr's good, I might watch the game. Whereas now, it's like, no, I want to know about the whole squad.
And I get it from a tactical point of view. Going into the first game when nobody knew anything, you didn't want to give your opponent time to prepare. But now everyone knows. So we might as well be transparent, because everyone's going in every game going, well, if Sam Kerr lines up, which you know an hour and a half before because you've got to put out the team sheet.
Yes.
This is how we will structure up. And if she doesn't, this is... Like, everyone's working onto 2 game plans now. There's not much to be gained by playing ducks and drakes. It seems to be political.
And look, I get it. No one barracks for the media. Totally understand. And David, Will, you know that better than anyone. No one cheers for the Fourth Estate. But I just think, be open, be honest. No issue there.
Particularly when they've already copped so much flack over the rather cute way they handled the timing of the Sam Kerr announcement anyway.
Yeah. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, boys.
Good stuff, mate.
Get your 10-year warranty and 10-year cap price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles checked and locked prices are more than 20% below market prices every day of the year. Yes, National Tiles are dedicated to helping our clients save money on their tiles every day of the year. Come in store or online now and see for yourself. Proof of National Tiles checked and locked prices on many of our most popular tiles at 20% below market prices every day of the year. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
The FIFA Women's World Cup has kicked off in Adelaide, and there's more for fans at the FIFA Fan Festival. Catch matches live on the big screen at Festival Plaza. Embrace the buzz, taste world food curated by Callum Han, and enjoy live concerts and games. Test your reaction skills, try dartboard football, or snap selfies with Tizuni, the official mascot. The FIFA Fan Festival. Free entry for the whole family, July 20 to August 20. Visit the What's On page on southaustralia.com for the full schedule.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 16. With the 6:30 news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A Whyalla mother remains behind bars awaiting a bail report after facing court charge with criminal neglect. Police allegedly found her 18-month-old daughter sitting in her own faeces with live maggots in her nappy. The 24-year-old's accused of aggravated criminal neglect and aggravated endangering life. The court heard she was also on bail for assault. She'll appear in court again next week. The manhunt continues for an opportunistic thief who stole a family car with a toddler in the back at Dandenong. More from Isabella Stajkovski.
A little boy is this morning waking up safe and sound in his family home after a terrifying ordeal late yesterday. An opportunistic thief stealing his father's car, the 2-year-old still inside. His dad had only stepped out momentarily to speak with another driver following a bingle in Dandenong. The toddler was missing for more than an hour, found wandering the aisles of a Woolworths some 16 kilometres away by a member of the public who thought something was amiss. Police this morning are appealing for information to find the crook and the family's Black Care Carnival.
A report suggests China's trade restrictions on Australian products have had virtually no effect on the economy. There were initial fears taxes on goods like barley, wine and coal in 2020 would cost tens of billions of dollars in lost export earnings. But Productivity Commission modelling shows the sanctions reduce real GDP by just $225 million. More Australians are falling behind on their home and personal loan repayments. Emily Minnie has details.
Home loan delinquency rates are at their highest level since the start of the pandemic. Data from Experian Credit published in The Australian shows 1.4% of all home loans are in arrears. It's the 5th consecutive month missed payment rates have risen, while close to 6% of personal loan borrowers have missed a payment in the past 15 months. The creditor says the financial stress of rapid interest rate rises are being reflected in the data.
The number of Indigenous people who've enrolled to vote has risen above 90% for the first time. Data from the Australian Electoral Commission also shows the rate of enrolment for young people and residents of the Northern Territory are at an all-time high. It's believed the rise has been sparked by the upcoming referendum on the voice to Parliament. Tens of thousands of people are being evacuated from Greece's islands as wildfires burn out of control. This child's returned to Britain and says it was a scary experience.
I saw everyone crying and it made me quite scared. And there was lots of smoke and it kept on getting in people's chests.
Jurors have been sent out to begin their deliberations after hearing closing evidence in the sexual offences trial against US actor Kevin Spacey. The 63-year-old Oscar winner's pleaded not guilty to multiple sexual assault charges relating to alleged offending against 4 men in the UK between 2001 and 2013. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Port Adelaide will tonight fight the 2-match ban handed to Willie Rioli out of the match from the weekend against Collingwood. Even if successful, it's unlikely the suspension will be thrown out, but the club is hopeful of downgrading the charge, so he'll miss only this Saturday night's showdown clash. Meantime, assistant coach Nathan Bassett has told Timmy G he's and the club have learnt plenty from the match against the Pies.
In general, the intent was really good, but we probably gave up 6 goals where they're easily fixable. There's always going to be some mistakes in games, but these were sort of bigger mistakes. And then we didn't quite take our opportunities as well as we could have, and then lost the territory battle a little bit from stoppage, mainly in the last quarter.
Let's go to soccer. Matilda squad members are being told to be ready for action ahead of Thursday night's World Cup clash with Nigeria in Brisbane. Defender Alana Kennedy is having her workload managed in training, leading to speculation that Claire Polkinghorne could start. Midfielder Cara Cooney-Cross says everyone has a role to play.
It's so important that all of us players, no matter if they're the bench players or starting 11, that we're fresh and ready to go because, the World Cup, it's a long tournament with so many games, so it's so important for us to stay fresh.
Meantime, last night at Highmarsh Stadium, it was Brazil beating Panama 4-0. And at the Atlanta Open, James Duckworth has just gone down in 3 sets to South African Lloyd Harris. Earlier, fellow Aussie Alexander Vukic had a straight sets win to move into the round of 16. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Breaking news. Huge sale at Elite Betting Edwardstown. Up to $500 discount on a Queen or King mattress.
Partly cloudy and 16 today, sunny tomorrow 17, showers on Thursday 18 and showers easing on Friday 16. At the moment 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Test drive the Cherry Emoda 5 at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Go Cherry.
24/7, police and weather are not too far away. Talking jobs at the Royal Show before 7 o'clock. Have any of our listeners ever worked at the Royal Show? Have you ever had a job there?
One of my first duties as a cadet journalist in my cadet year at the Advertiser, when I spent 3 months of my life typing in the TV programs for the Sunday Mail TV Guide. I tell you what, you want to find out what complaints look like. Get the scheduling of a TV Guide program wrong, and luckily it never happened to me. But back in the early 90s, the TV Guide, people lived and died by that thing.
Oh my word, yeah, that was
because if you didn't set your video for the right time, and particularly for things like Sunday Night Grand Prix. Like if you got the times wrong, you would almost get sacked, and it was a really good skill because the whole point of it was to instill the importance of accuracy into you. But one of my first duties outside of the office, from doing the weather page and the flight times, the shipping times, even used to do the shipping times, what ships were arriving at outer harbour and so forth. Back when there was no internet. So that it was the inside back pages of the newspaper where you get all of that stuff that you can now find with the click of an iPhone. But I got sent to the Royal Show for a week, and I worked from 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. And my main job, there was a guy who got fired out of a cannon that year. This would have been about 1994 or maybe 93. And the Chief of Staff said, look, at night, we don't really need any stories. The paper's pretty much done. But can you just watch that guy get shot out of the cannon every night? Because God forbid anything happens to him, it'll be a really big story.
You were literally on Cannon Watch?
I was on Cannon Watch. So I was like 23 years old. I just stand there with my notepad watching this guy get blown out of the cannon. And every night...
What a morbid task.
He succeeded. And then I went, oh, well, that's me done for the day.
Jeez, I don't think newspapers have the resourcing to put people on Cannon Watch anymore, do they?
That's right.
Talking about your jobs at the Royal Show, I didn't expect to hear that one. 8223 000. You can text us too on the Duttons text line. William in Mansfield Park, you worked at the Royal Show.
Yes, good morning, lads. I'm 40-something now, but I worked from 15 years old to about 18 years old at the Royal Adelaide Show here, back 25-something years ago. The side show that I was on, I believe if it was out there today, would be very questionable. I had to guess your weight within 2 kilos. I don't know if you guys ever remember that the game show where, I had to guess your weight within 2 kilos. And if I got it within 2 kilos, you lost. But if I was out, well, then you'd get to pick a prize. That was a very that specific side show that I was on is very, very touchy, I believe, in today's society.
I don't think you get away with that one.
Did you get slapped at any point, William?
No, because I was very smart and strategic, actually. When I knew that someone was going to be overweight, I always underguessed their weight, even though I knew I was going to be wrong. I always underguessed their weight, even though I knew their weight was going to be over.
So if you had some morbidly obese person, you'd say, I reckon you're about 65.
Yeah, I'd underball it for sure, and I got away with it for about 2 years.
Hey, how often did you get it right?
Well, mainly with the children. I got the children's right because, I was only 15, 16 or whatever myself, so I got their weight by height and stature pretty much accurate, but it was, I don't know, I mean, if I really wanted to focus on it, I'd have a good look, I could get their weight pretty accurate. But if I knew it was going to be a higher number, I would always come under.
So it wasn't like, there was pressure on you to, get 75% of the weights right, otherwise the standard go broke or anything. That wasn't the business model.
I'm not really sure, but can I just give you my spin to bring people in?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, so I'd get on the two-way. Bearing in mind, I was only 16, I was a young fella. I would be like, oh, come on over, come on in. Take this challenge. You can win here today, folks. If I can't guess your weight within 2 kilos, you will be today's winner. Every child player wins a prize.
That's excellent, mate.
That is absolutely superb.
We're going to send William a FIVEAA coffee cup.
Yeah,
that was terrific. That was great. Good on you, mate.
That was great. Jobs at the show.
Sideshow Barker.
So the 2 jobs we've heard people have at the show back in the day were the sideshow guy who guessed your weight and the young reporter who watched to see if the cannon guy exploded.
It was quite macabre, really, wasn't it?
Certainly
no,
is.
If I'm honest, 1% of me was hoping that there was some sort of newsworthy mishap. not that it would result in, any impairment of the poor man in the Evel Knievel trousers.
Talking jobs at the show in advance of an interview we're doing just before 7 o'clock about there being a massive availability of jobs at the show, and they pay. I'm guessing no one. We should have asked William, in fact, what he got paid, because I'm guessing it wasn't $54 an hour. That interview's coming up in about 10 minutes' time about jobs that are currently available. Barbara on the Duttons text line says, I was involved with and managed Yellow Brick Road at the Royal Show for more than 10 years.
And thanks to Peter in the Barossa, who does work in the wine industry, further to the chat we're having about China and the superficially good news story in the Australian today about how overall the Australian economy has weathered the impact of Chinese tariffs. Peter did say, well, it did have a massive effect on the wine industry. It probably had a massive effect on particular wineries in the wine industry because, when the tariffs came in, I can remember talking to some wineries who had 70-80% of their exports going to China and others who had none. So it wasn't really horses for courses.
Will in Goodwood on the Duttons text line says, couldn't agree more, Will. The one I can't stand is 10 years ago you'd buy a computer program and it's yours. Now you have to pay by the month, pay by the year. It's like what BMW did, not that I own one, he says. They plan on charging monthly fees to switch the air conditioner on. I hate subscription model stuff. I absolutely hate it, especially for stuff that you once upon a time just got to own. And it's not the time or the place for it, but I think the whole business of the software industry of conditioning young kids to sort of the loot box economy where you pay to play everything creates an environment where you grow up in a world where you never own anything. You're happy just to pay subscription fees all the time. It's a total bloody rort, and I couldn't agree with you more, Will. 8223 0000 Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream as well. After 7 o'clock, we've got a story for you about a merger that sounds more dramatic than it actually is between Kmart and Target that Wesfarmers have just announced. Some of it essentially is a lot of backroom stuff. Not much is going to change to the stores. But
it's probably of more interest if you work at Target and Target and Kmart?
Target and Kmart. Albeit there's some assurances for the front of house staff. I think it's the back of house people there that do the software and the payroll and the management types that are going to be what's that horrible management phrase? Rationalised?
Rationalised.
They'll be rationalised.
Yeah.
Both iconic brands. Kmart started 1969, Target in 1926. So by the time Kmart came around, there were 14 what was started out as Lindsay stores around Victoria, which is what Target started out as. So Target was the one that got on board first. Kmart seems to be the more successful at the moment. The two will remain separate entities in terms of what they focus on, one being cheaper clothes and bits and pieces, the other just being low-cost, stuff.
Yeah,
like a huge range of
department store style, just
exactly.
Suite, a bit of everything.
Exactly right. Target was acquired back in 2007 as part of the Wesfarmers acquisition of Coles Group. I was thinking this morning watching the news. Geez, Wesfarmers own everything, don't they?
Oh yeah.
So
they're like Taco Bell in RoboCop. They're going to end up being the one remaining company
they are
on
the
Earth.
Business. You think of any business that you know of in Australia, it's probably owned by Wesfarmers. But we'll talk more about the merger a little bit later. If you've worked at Kmart or Target, we'd like to hear from you this morning as well.
Just in terms of what it does mean for jobs, though, I saw a Wesfarmers spokesperson was quoted somewhat breezily as saying, there'll be a handful of redundancies. I reckon if I worked in IT or marketing or any sort of back-end type stuff, I'd be going, well, how big's the hand? It reminded me the other day, Telstra announced that it's axing 472 jobs in its enterprise unit. This was announced on Friday. and I actually saved the link to the article because I want to give it to Matt Abraham. It's got Mitre 10 spin of the week written all over it. This was the quote. I can confirm we have proposed some changes to continue to reshape our business so that we remain competitive, efficient, as well as effective in the way we work. That's what Telstra said about it. And you read on. And
reshaping's another good one.
Down the bottom. More broadly across our business, we've proposed changes to address impacts from existing legacy products and services, as well as gaining efficiencies from increased digitisation, automation and new technology. These are critical for us to remain competitive and achieve our customer ambitions. And the very last sentence says, if this change proceeds, there will be a net reduction of around 472 jobs. Thank you. Come on, spit it out.
It's funny how quickly the management speak becomes really sinister and everyone sees through it, to the point I wonder why we bother doing it in the first place. Like, nobody now sees the words reshape or efficiencies in the context of business changes and thinks, well, I wonder how many new people we're adding. So why do we do it?
Well, they're the most extravagantly paid people in the media as well. The ones who...
Well, I guess they're the ones doing all the creative writing.
That doesn't get any more creative than that.
All right, let's check traffic. Police and weather next.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. At Smithfield, Boomgate stuck down today, Curtis Road near Charlotte Street. Ridgehaven, Burst Watermain slowing things up, North East Road near Shepherd Street, lane closed there, and traffic lights on the blink this morning at Ingle Farm. Take it easy through that intersection. Montague Road near Walkerleys Road. Lane closed today at Hendon, West Lakes Boulevard near Morley Road, and got an early morning camera at Cavan Road at Dry Creek. Make tonight's Taco Tuesday even better with delicious pork mince. It's Maravilloso in all your Mexican favourites. Find easy recipes at pork.com.au and get some pork on your fork. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Sky News presents a special documentary with all sides heard.
It's a recognition of this extraordinary history.
With key Indigenous leaders, experts and politicians.
Probably our nation's most divisive referendum.
What the voice to Parliament will mean for our nation.
It's going to undermine our democracy.
It will be a moment of respect for Indigenous Australians.
The Voice, Australia Decides. Tonight, 7:30pm on Sky News. Watch on Foxtel, stream on Flash.
As we get older, looking after our health can feel like a full-time job. If you have Commonwealth funding for aged care services, RDNS Silver Chain can provide allied healthcare, such as podiatry, physio and occupational therapy in your own home. For nearly 130 years, we've helped South Australians stay independent. So for your daily healthcare, home delivered, call 1300 364 264. RDNS Silver Chain. Health, human, home.
Gentlemen, are you getting up 3 or 4 times a night to pee? Caruso's Prostate Ease Max relieves the frequency of nighttime urination in men with medically diagnosed benign prostatic hypertrophy or enlarged prostate. So if you'd like to pee less and sleep more, try Caruso's Prostate Ease Max. Available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If you've not had your symptoms diagnosed or if your symptoms persist or worsen, consult a medical practitioner.
Adelaide Direct Stationers is more than just stationery. We're one of SA's largest suppliers of tech products, washroom products, PPE, workplace health and safety equipment, office furniture, food, snacks, beverages and much more. We have all your office and business needs in one place. With free next day delivery on orders over $50, plus same day 2-hour express delivery. Adelaide Direct Stationers, serving SA's largest businesses and a preferred government supplier. Visit adelaideDirectStationers.com.au.
Hi, I'm Jo. I'm a registered nurse and I work with St Louis Home Care as a clinical care coordinator.
St Louis was started by my great-grandmother and is one big happy family with lovely staff just like Jo.
The people that work for St Louis are very loving and caring.
Whether it's personal care, preparing meals, shopping, home maintenance or social activities, we help people stay at home for longer.
If you're interested, come and join us.
Google St Louis Home Care today.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will.
You know, relatively speaking, a warm start to this Tuesday. Simon Timke at the Bureau has all the details. Morning to you, Simon.
Good morning, Will. Morning, David.
These mornings are not too bad.
No, we've had
cloud cover pretty much all night, which has stopped the temperature dropping too low. We've had a minimum of 11.3 at 10 past 6, currently sitting on 11.5. So the cloud's kept us a little bit warmer. And that cloud is associated with a high pressure system, which is centred just to the east of Adelaide. So the cloud extends a bit further north, right up to the Flinders district. So we'll probably have cloudy or at least partly cloudy conditions for most of the day today. But during tomorrow, that high will move eastwards. We'll go around into a more northeast to northerly wind regime and see plenty of sunshine. So plenty of cloud around today, but should be dry. Not expecting any showers out of that cloud. Temperature-wise, expecting a maximum of 16 degrees for the city. Around the suburbs, 16 as well for Elizabeth, 15 for Mount Barker, Glenelg and Noarlunga. And as I said, sunny day on the way for Wednesday. The wind's turning around northeasterly, and with that sunshine, a little bit warmer during the day, up to 17. But with the clear skies overnight, it will get a bit colder, I think, down to 7 degrees, so a little bit colder for Wednesday morning. On Thursday, the next cold front's moving across, so we'll see cloud develop during the morning and then showers during the afternoon and evening. I think it'll be a little bit windier too. The northerlies picking up a little bit, becoming a little bit fresher on Thursday, but still a warmish sort of day ahead of that change, expecting a maximum around 18 degrees. On Friday, still a couple of showers around, mostly during the morning, so an easing trend for the showers on Wednesday, and the winds generally westerly in direction, 16 degrees the maximum for Friday. Then over the weekend, still a slight chance of 1 or 2 showers around, but not as wet as Thursday with the front. 17 for Saturday and 17 for Sunday, guys.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Simon Timke from the Bureau of Meteorology.
We cross over now to talk to our good friend Matt Brown from SAPOL. Matt, I tell you what, it looks like a fairly unbusy dance card overnight for SAPOL. Just the one item, a car stolen from North Haven early this morning.
That's right, David. Sometimes an empty dance card's, it might be a good thing, but...
I tell you what, Matt, you guys are the living definition of the no news is good news maxim.
That's right.
Nice to live in a city where the only thing we've got to talk about is the fact that someone's stolen a car.
Yeah, it's pretty lucky sometimes, but unfortunately, these people from North Haven are missing their car, which was stolen earlier this morning. About 3:15 a.m. today, patrols were called to a house on Lady Gowrie Drive after reports of a break-in. The suspect stole an electric scooter and the keys to a white 2010 Holden Commodore station wagon with rego of S084BLD, so that's S084BLD. And the car was then driven away from the scene with 4 suspects inside the vehicle. One of them was wearing a black jacket with white sleeves. Anyone who may have seen suspicious activity in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Good on you, Matt. Thank you for that.
Cheers,
Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. The Royal Show is just 38 days away, and the good people at the show are looking for workers to help out. What they're offering pay-wise is pretty reasonable too. Will Rayner's the CEO of the Royal Agricultural and Horticultural Society. Will, good morning to you. How many people do you guys need, and what sort of jobs are you looking to fill?
Morning, David. Well, it takes a large team to put on the show each year, and we need upwards of 10,000 staff to put on the show. And we're looking for people in a range of roles, from in the commercial side of things, food and carnival operators, and our contractors that help with things like cleaning and security and the like. So there's a really wide range of roles, and we'd encourage people to go to our website, theshow.com.au, and have a look.
Well, we know that there's a job squeeze on everywhere. You know, we've been talking about SAPOL, their recruitment challenges, teaching, GPs, you name it. The show's no different. Has it also been affected in the backdraft of COVID? Because we were saying earlier, in the past, our dealings with the show, it felt like every other person working there was some South American backpacker. Is that still a contributor to the struggle to fill these roles?
Look, I think certainly we need a wide range of people, because we've got that really wide range of roles, and a lot of it's casual work, so that does lend itself to that sort of student population or the backpacker population. But we also have sort of more corporate roles and professional roles, and we have a full-time staff there at the show as well. So it really is right across the range.
So you're finding it harder this year than in previous years to fill all these spots?
I think the show holds a really special place in the hearts of people in South Australia. So we go out about this time of the year every show. But certainly it's a large number, and we're really looking forward to people sort of putting their hand up. We're really lucky. We get a great volunteer base as well that come out and help. So there are a mixture of sort of paid and unpaid roles as well, and we're really confident we're going to put on another great show.
So it's only 38 days away. There any big headline surprises with the show yet this year, Will, or are you going to keep your powder dry and save the announcements for later?
Yeah, powder dry until next week when we're going to launch the tickets. But there will be, if you're thinking of the younger demographic, there will be a global superstar joining us this year. So look forward to that announcement next week. But tickets go on sale next Tuesday, the 1st of August.
Excellent. Global superstar. It's piqued my interest. All right, mate. We'll await further details. Will Rayner, the new CEO of the Royal Agricultural and Horticultural Society. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
4 to 7, taking your stories this morning from people who've worked at the show. We heard lots of Wills getting. It was a Will earlier, wasn't it? William?
Yeah.
So Will Rayner, William, who called us a little bit earlier, and made the point that he was the guy that guessed your weight at a stall back in the day. Sounded like it was probably 25, 30 years ago. 82230000. What is the job you had at the show? We'd love to hear some stories over the course of the morning. You can text us to on the Duttons text line, the show from the 2nd of September through till the 10th.
So when will young Rosie be making her show debut, Will? It'd be a bit wasted on her now.
A bit of waste on her now.
3 years and upwards, I reckon. Oh, no, 2 years. 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, you got to get into the...
What point did...
The farm zoo, all of that.
The petting zoo, yeah. All right. Brett in Ferryden Park, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you, boys?
Good, thanks, Brett.
Excellent. Yeah, I used to work as an apprentice, a young butcher, and my uncle was a butcher also, and he used to do the meat demonstrations in the hall, and 3 times a day I was the young apprentice that used to have to help him and tell all the crowd, and talk them through what we were doing to the meat while we were doing it.
Did you enjoy doing your work in front of a crowd, Brett?
Well, I didn't mind it. I've sort of bit used to that because I'm a musician. I played in bands and stuff like that, so I was sort of a bit used to it. Right. So it didn't seem to bother me so much. But my uncle was really good at it. He was really good. He was tip off the old block. He was really good at it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, Brett, you'd want to keep your wits about you while you're using boning knives and mincers and all that sort of stuff, and trying to keep the crowd engaged by making constant chit chat at the same time.
That's the thing. Yeah, you have to do that. But they used to give us coarse gloves, metal gloves, so we didn't cut ourselves. But I used to hate wearing those things. They were like chainmail, gloves.
You see, professional oyster shuckers wear them as well, so they don't stick the knife through the palm of their hand.
Good on you, Brett. This is a really eclectic. The thing is that there's no boring jobs at the show, I reckon.
No, it's cool.
Absolutely everything. It's an eclectic group of
I love it.
Demonstrations and things.
Easily one of the worst things about COVID was the damn show being shut. What was it, 2020, 2021? It was back last year. But when it was cancelled the second time...
When it seemed to be...
And living as close as we do to the showgrounds, that was the one thing. I reckon if you asked our 8-year-old what was the worst thing about COVID, he'd say the show being cancelled. And he was following that story all that year, and then he said, is the show coming back? Is the show coming back? And then at the last minute when they said it's not. And it was a close-run thing. I can remember because Stephen Marshall was still Premier. There's a lot of criticism about the fact that it didn't go ahead. But, it means a lot to kids.
Minute to 7, 5AA News is coming up. We'll take you through some of the stories of the morning next.
The secret to owning the best house in the street isn't about the house. It's the fence. Cast Stone is an SA company with a bold reputation for premium quality fences designed to enhance your beautiful home. Walk down the streets of Adelaide's best postcodes and you'll see their heritage, traditional or modern stone pillars designed to suit solid walling, tubular steel, cast aluminium, brush fencing or timber slats. You haven't finished it until you've fenced it. View the gallery at caststone.com.au or arrange a consultation.
My new guy just gets why listening's important.
Hi, Anita.
Morning.
Ready for your hearing check?
Because our stores are run by local audiology professionals, they put your care first, which can make them rather popular. Specsavers, your care is our business.
Who can fix the shower?
Service today.
Who can fix the power?
Service today.
Yes, we can, is what we say. And Service Today.
From emergency plumbing to electrical and heating and cooling, no matter what size job you need, at Service Today the answer will always be yes we can. It's Service Today guaranteed or it's free.
Can you fix the shower? Yes we can.
Can you fix the power?
Yes we can. Yes we can is what we say at Service Today.
Look out for our bright yellow trucks.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 16 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience to treat those niggling injuries. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A mother remains in custody after being charged with child neglect. Police allegedly found an 18-month-old girl at her home in Wailanori last week with a nappy so full it was overflowing and also had live maggots in it. Her 24-year-old mother's been charged with aggravated criminal neglect and aggravated endangering life. The toddler and her 5-year-old brother were taken into care. A bail report's been ordered for the woman, who will be back in court next week. And a toddler in the back of a car stolen in Dandenong yesterday has been reunited with his parents. A member of the public found the 2-year-old wandering in a supermarket 16 kilometres away. Detective Senior Sergeant Dean Hayes says the stolen car's yet to be located and the thief remains on the run.
The car at the moment is still outstanding as stolen. The child was dropped off at Woolworths in Furniture Gully, and investigations are still ongoing to try and locate the stolen vehicle.
New data is giving insight into what households are cutting back on as the cost of living continues to bite. A survey from NAB shows people are spending less on eating out at restaurants, coffees and car trips to save on petrol. But we aren't as likely to cut spending on our pets and childcare. Around 3,000 public housing tenants in inner Melbourne will share in a class action settlement of $5 million for suffering caused by a COVID lockdown in July 2020. Residents of 9 high-rise towers will receive around $2,000 each as compensation for spending 14 days locked inside their homes. The Victorian government isn't required to admit liability. FIVEAA's taxes on Australian products like barley, wine and coal would cost the economy tens of billions of dollars have been alleviated. Productivity Commission modelling shows the Chinese tariffs in place since 2020 have cut real GDP by just $225 million because exporters were able to find new markets. Wildfires are continuing to burn in Greece, with the nation in the grip of a heatwave. 19,000 people, mainly tourists, were evacuated from the resort island of Rhodes over the weekend. And there are fresh evacuation orders for the islands of Corfu and FIVEAA. This tourist has returned to Britain and described his experience.
It was get to the beach, get to the beach. At that point, when you was on the beach, you just had to dump your luggage because you couldn't drag it across the sand. So, yeah, and as you look behind you, it was just coming over, the mountain.
Elon Musk has officially rebranded Twitter as X, marking the biggest shift since he took over the social media platform. More from Alison Petrowski.
The iconic blue bird has been officially replaced overnight with the letter X, projecting the new logo onto the exterior of the company's head office in San Francisco. Elon Musk wants the app, formerly known as Twitter, to become a super app like China's WeChat, a one-stop shop for social media posts, payments and banking. X has sentimental value for the billionaire. In 1999, he was the co-founder of online bank X.com, and under Musk's replacement, it grew to become PayPal. Meanwhile, his rebounding Tesla stock has resulted in Musk reclaiming the #1 spot on the Forbes World's Richest Person list.
And Kmart and Target are merging, both owned by Wesfarmers. Target's being folded into Kmart to create a singular $10 billion business. They'll keep their names and remain separate stores, but the company says there will be redundancies at head office due to role duplication. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Adelaide has injury concerns ahead of this Saturday night showdown against Port Adelaide, with Nick Murray ruled out for the next 12 months with a ruptured ACL. It comes off the back of Isaac Rankin tearing a hamstring on the weekend, which could keep him out for up to a month. Still on footy, and Carlton veteran Sam Doherty says it's too early to think about September as the 9th-placed Blues prepare for a Friday night blockbuster against the ladder leaders Collingwood.
Staying pretty present in the week-to-week grind and trying to put out the best version of ourselves. And 4 or 5 weeks ago, not many people would have believed us that we thought we had better footy in us, but the narrow focus that we've been able to go over the last 5 weeks has been working for us.
Sam Walsh and Jack Silvani have been ruled out, though, for the Blues with injury. Well, Australia's Mitch Marsh has described himself as a nervous wreck ahead of the final day of the 4th Ashes Test, which saw Australia retain the urn for a second tour running. Unpredictable weather in Manchester saw Old Trafford washed out. Marsh says the team is immensely fortunate.
Most people in this situation would say they were pretty calm and relaxed and can't help the weather, but I was a nervous wreck. I reckon I got about 12,000 steps up in the change rooms throughout the day, couldn't sit still. We had team iPads out in the change rooms to checking the weather app. It was a long day. There's no doubt there's a bit of luck involved with that.
Australia will set their sights now on the 5th and final test starting at the Oval on Thursday night, our time. And Aussie Alexei Popyrin has moved into the round of 16 at the Croatia Open after a straight sets win against Frenchman Benjamin Bonzi. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Good morning. Burst watermain to look out for this morning at Ridgehaven, North East Road near Shepherd's Record, lane close there. Eagle Farm, traffic lights on the Blink Montague Road near Walkleys Road. I'm quite busy due to works at West Beach, Tapley's Road near Sedona Rabbit Drive. She's down at 40, always get slow on the driving. Cameras, Grant Road, Brunella and Hub Drive at Aberfoyle Park. This July, Bob Jane T-Marts have great buy 3, get 1 free, plus instant cashback deals. With 15 stores located in Adelaide, they'll look after you. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Breaking news, huge sale at Elite Bedding Edwardstown. Up to $500 discount on a Queen or King mattress.
Partly cloudy and 16 today, sunny tomorrow 17, showers on Thursday 18 and easing on Friday 16. At the moment 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
If today was your last day.
Days away. They're looking to fill 10,000 positions. We just spoke with the CEO of the Royal Agricultural and Horticultural Society a moment ago. Tony in Montague Farm says, worked on a sideshow back in 1986 as a 14-year-old. Turns out it's pretty hard to knock down 5 heavy galvanised pieces of water pipe with some light sponge balls. But I got paid $100 for 2.5 days' work. Thank you for that.
Has anyone ever knocked those things down?
Well, now we know why not. I like this one from 1978. Giacomo says, my job was to walk around carrying a sandwich board that advertised some SA government production. I could go wherever I wanted, paid $4 an hour, $5 on Saturday to watch the wood chopping, the Holden Precision Driving Team, fireworks, met every farmyard animal and observed every scone and fruitcake entry at Centennial Hall. Best job ever.
Fantastic.
Heather's called in. Heather, what was your job?
Yes, I was a Fordings lavender lady in the mid-60s.
Now, what did that entail, Heather?
Well, they were a manufacturing chemist and they made Slipdol soaps and also betadine and, that was much later, barrier cream and things like that. So we were asked if we'd like to work at the show, and it was a 12-hour shift. And the ladies, as they approached, you'd ask them if they'd like a spray of lavender eau de cologne, and then they could pick. I would give them an empty bag and they'd pick the samples of all the chemist items that Fordings made.
Oh, wow.
It was really nice. Once I accidentally sprayed a lady without asking her, and you'd swear I'd sprayed her with DDT. I did apologise profusely, but I thought, oh, gee, give us a break.
That takes us back to a different era, Heather.
Yeah, I'd go home at night, and in my head would be continuously, put your foot down when the siren rings. And that would be those bumper cars.
Yeah.
And the other one, it wouldn't stop. It was, get your hot jam-filled American donuts here. And that would be in my head all night.
Hot American donuts. Try these. Making, baking, cooking all the while.
That's a
I've still got that in my head from working there
Thank you.
too.
8223 tell us what your job was at the Royal Adelaide Show. Great story. As I said, I'm convinced it's not a boring job at the Royal Show. Let's get into the news this morning, starting with a good piece in the Tiser. The state government has announced late yesterday what will constitute a major review of emergency laws. Now, the emergency laws, of course, we became all too familiar with in the last couple of years. Historically, these are the things used for bushfires and floods, but came most to prominence during the COVID-19 pandemic. The review will look at whether these laws flourished the decision makers in the state with the appropriate powers, whether they were executed appropriately, whether they need an update given now what we know about managing the evolving challenges of this scale of emergency that historically we hadn't contemplated before. They'll also overhaul rules to what they call invisible threats like cyber terrorism or foreign hacking issues like that. Cost about $400,000, this inquiry. It will investigate how authorities can respond, manage and recover, which is important too, from catastrophes that threaten state security. According to the terms of reference, the review will go for 12 months and will also consider, and I think this makes a lot of sense, whether there should be separate pandemic and emergency planning laws. So it's not all the same thing. Because we had that ridiculous scenario during the pandemic where we had to keep assenting to the extension of the emergency powers because they're only ever designed to be used at a bushfire at a time.
Well, part of the problem, and I think if he had his time over again, the then Premier Stephen Marshall would respond to it differently, was there's certain things where you need hard and fast decisions made if you've got a bushfire bearing down on you, or a situation like we had with the floods last year where you needed to just tell people, look, suck it up. You know, you need to evacuate now. You need to do this, you need to do that. No questions asked, no correspondence will be entered into. Versus the more nuanced sort of situations we had, particularly with things like country students boarding at city schools, where even if you came from a farm in the middle of nowhere, where you could walk around, you know, licking every door handle for miles around you and still not contract COVID if you tried, and kids like that were getting the, sorry, computer says no response, where anyone with half a brain could have said, look, these kids can come home from the school holidays. There's no dramas here. The only people they could infect with anything are their own parents. But for months, the Premier just stuck to this line, oh, well, we need to, you know, we're all in this together. Okay. Good luck with that. Yeah. You can sort of see where it got him in the end too.
Well,
opposition.
Exactly right. The inquiry will be fascinating to see whether we come up with something that ultimately is more malleable for, hopefully, future threats that never materialise. Have a listen to this Target ad from 1989.
There are a lot of garments around that look as good as a Target garment until they come unstitched, or tear easily, or shrink, or stretch, or the dye runs, or the colour starts to fade. No. A genuine Target garment has already been tested to resist all these things. If it doesn't, we'll give you back your money. Target. We're tougher on our clothes than you'll ever be.
Target is in the news cycle this morning alongside Kmart, its stablemate at Wesfarmers. They are being turned into a dual-brand retail giant. The Fin Review had the story yesterday. They're going to be created into what is a $10 billion business. Now, key, I think, for everyone listening, if you go to your local Kmart or Target store, you're not going to see anything really change. The stores will still have their names. They'll still remain separate entities. Kmart will be price-driven. Target will continue to do affordable apparel and some home furnishings and things like that. But back of house, things are going to change. There's going to be some rationalisation, and that's going to mean there is going to be some job losses in areas that are duplicated across the two businesses. But essentially, the merger will amount to a big business deal that won't mean a whole lot in a retail sense, but expect to hear a lot about it over the course of the day in your news services.
Now, some sad news yesterday. South Australia has lost one of its great personalities, a man who did more than anyone to help turn a good football club into a great football club. I'm talking here about Fred Chock-a-Block, who for years was the administrator of the Adelaide University Blacks, the footy club. Hundreds and hundreds of people have played for their many teams in their many divisions over the years. Fred Chock-a-Block, as he's known, there's a superb piece written by a former Blacks player called Malcolm Rulebook Ashwood, Rulebook being the mandated nickname that every Blacks player has. It's been reposted on the Footy Almanac, which is a great sort of grassroots football website, telling Chocker's life story, how he started off as a student at Adelaide Boys High, then worked for the National Bank, which is now the NAB. He was offered a chance to study for an economics degree because he was a brilliant mathematician. He graduated with honours, and when he was working at the bank, he basically had this sort of life-changing moment where he decided that he didn't want to work there. He was bored with the job. And he was friends with Professor Jeff Harcourt, who's the father of Tim Harcourt, who a lot of you might know. Professor Harcourt, he arranged for Fred to get some work lecturing at Adelaide Uni in the Commerce Department, where he eventually got involved in the club. This is some of what Malcolm Rulebook Ashwood says in the piece. It is his role and involvement becoming the head administrator, spiritual leader, guru, tribal elder and overall most important person in the world's greatest footy club, the Adelaide University Football Club, which I wish to expand on. At footy clubs, it's impossible to give people and players the appropriate recognition. Chocker, however, always seemed to give the worst player in the club more respect than the best player. While every Blacks player, past and present, cares about the success of the A-grade side, the club's folklore has been built on a vigorous sense of the ridiculous and an ethos that showers glory on the meek and demands humility of the mighty. There's no better example of this ethos than the cult of Bob Neal, which Chocker embraced immediately. He was in reality the main instigator of the Bob Neal myth. The rest of us were simply willing disciples. One person who did spend, and indeed still does, spend a lot of time with the Blacks is our Premier, Peter Malinauskas, who played for the Scum. Spoke to him last night, and of Fred Chock-a-Block, Mally said he was an absolute true legend who created a culture unlike any other. So if you have any memories of Fred Block that you do want to share, ping us a text or give us a call. But a great life, a great man, and they'll be holding a special one-off edition of Hold Your Bowlies up in the sky tonight to commemorate the arrival of a bloke who meant so much to so many South Australian men and also women, because the club was a trailblazer of women's football as well.
18 minutes after 7, 8223 0000, the number. You can text us on the Duttons text line. We're going to check traffic and come back with more in just a moment.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. Two car smash to look out for at Mile End today. Henley Beach Road near South Road. Ridgehaven burst water main slowing things up. North East Road near Shepherd Street. Got a lane out of action there at the moment. And we've got speeds down to 40 with a lane closed at Windvale. That's the Grove Way near Surrey Farm Drive. Cameras this morning, Grant Road, Ranella, and got one right now, Cliff Avenue at Port Noarlunga South. Aussie-owned, the Lottery Office has a massive $1.2 billion up for grabs in the USA Mega Lotto. Visit lotteryoffice.com.au now before it's gone. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Campaigning for elections, if you ask any politician, starts the day after the previous election. You know, it would be good if we had these men and women that we elect to this special role as representatives of the people.
Weekday mornings from 9.
Who would actually put the people first instead of their own self-interests and trips overseas in the middle of winter and all the rest.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
G'day, It's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian dairy farmers are doing it tough right now, but at FIVEAA Milk we always look after our own, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for FIVEAA Milk and help support our hard-working South Australian dairy farmers and their families. Because right now, they need our help. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
Your employment potential is huge and we can unlock it. At Barkuma, we partner with people on the journey to their best life. We're here for you. Barkuma is a specialist in providing employment support for people with intellectual disability, learning difficulties and autism spectrum disorder. Barkuma's Disability Employment Service will build your confidence, develop your skills and match you with eager employers ready to work with you on your career. To find out more, visit barkuma.com.au because life is better with Barkuma.
To celebrate 70 years in solar, SolarHeart is giving you the chance to win a Tesla Model 3 electric vehicle worth up to $70,000. Simply buy a SolarHeart solar power system, SolarHeart water heater, heat pump or home battery and enter for your chance to win. Get smart. Get SolarHeart. Terms and conditions apply. Visit solarheart.com.au for details. Open to AU residents 18+. Ends 30th of September 2023. SA permit T23/871.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 85 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry Motor 5. State-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
21 after 7. This time next week we're in undie drive mode, raising as much money as possible. And doing it shamelessly for the Hutt Street Centre and Catherine House.
This is going to be massive.
So make sure you keep listening all this week to find out how you can get involved in the undie drive. All thanks to the great people at Duncan Bashir Hannon, supporting South Aussies and local charities for over 50 years. DBH Lawyers at dbh.com.au.
Love them. Gave them big raps yesterday.
You did.
They know what they're doing.
First-hand experience.
That's right.
You've been on the other side.
Exactly.
The 5AA Undie Drive website is simply 5AA, all letters, 5AA, undiedrive.com.au. Go there, and that'll be your sort of donation portal.
I shudder to think what type of, what suite of humiliation and torment we're going to be putting each other and our colleagues through this year. I now have this Pavlovian response. Every time I hear that it's 6 degrees, I immediately have a flashback to running into the water at Henley Beach when it was 6 degrees.
It's truly brave.
But I'm sure there's some evil concepts being cooked up.
No
I'm
doubt.
looking in the direction of Lucy Loken, Sam Daddo. I'm not sure what black hand role they've played in this year's torment, but all will be revealed next week.
Jenny in Para Hills has called in. Morning to you, Jenny.
Hi guys, when I was 15, I was still in high school. My dad worked for AMSCOL and I worked in the AMSCOL, there was a little cottage just down from the milk hall and there was a little cottage and I worked in there and serving milkshakes and ice cream. And I had to start work at 8. It was in the school holidays, so it was 8:30 till 9 at night.
Oh, wow. What did your dad do at AMSCOL, Jenny?
My dad started out as a milkie. He started out as a milkie when he was about 15 or 16. He then became the cashier at AMSCOL and then the paymaster.
Was it a good job at the Royal Show, working there in that store?
Oh, at the Royal Show. Look, it's funny. They said to us, you can have as many milkshakes and ice creams as you like. So the first day, it was breakfast, lunch and tea sort of thing. And then the second day was the same. By the third day, it was maybe lunch and tea. And then by the fourth day, it was, oh, please give me some chops and veggies.
Probably sworn you off ice cream for life, Jenny.
Good on you, Jenny. Thank you. 8223 0000, talking Royal Show jobs on the program this morning. Let's turn our attention to sport. $17 schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Albion, Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Barrow hotel. I think a lot of people will enjoy listening to this. Graham Corns joined the boys last night and spoke about the umpiring late in the Crows game on Sunday.
They're so close to knocking off a couple of these good teams. They're so close.
But a few things are happening now that could get in the psyche of the players that you don't want them dropping their confidence levels. You've got a really serious injury to Nick Murray now. Rankin's out.
You've got Murray, Rankin, Richelli still misses the
game because
the
of that.
showdown.
Yeah.
So, but it's more of a team thing. It comes down to silly. Look, Melbourne relaxed. You could say that. Melbourne relaxed and the Crows got a run on and bang, it's hard to, but Melbourne were able to get the momentum back again. Then you get a couple of very dodgy umpiring decisions. Look, the umpiring has been bad for both Port Adelaide and the Crows this year. It's not so much the free kicks you give away, because they're generally there.
Yep,
the free kick, but it's the same ones you don't get. Now, in that last quarter, Lockie Murphy got smashed, got driven into the ground from behind, and it's clearly a free kick. No free play on.
Yeah.
Goes down the other end. Jack Viney does the same thing, and it's a free kick. So that's always been my point. And
does that come with the hometown crowd?
No.
Do you reckon umpires get influenced by the noise?
Not here at Adelaide Oval. Not since 1991 when Ron Jamison kicked that goal after the Sirens against Fitzroy. The umpires resist this noise of affirmation. I'm convinced, and you can, all the Victorians say I'm a whinging South Australian, and even my own mates say stop whinging. But it's not right. It is just not right.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like wasted energy to me talking about that. Because you get yourself, you kick badly in the first half, you go to sleep and let them get back into the game.
I actually think the truth of it is less about, interstate biases than it is. I think when you're unsure or it's a 51% decision or 49%, as an umpire, you are on the side of the team and player with a reputation. And I think good sides get a better run with umpires, generally speaking. And if it's Jack Viney running into Josh Worrell late in that fourth quarter, and you go, there was a free kick there, which way? Well, it's probably Jack Viney. They win lots of games, Melbourne. Adelaide aren't that good. And I think that's where you tend to get hurt.
See, I think the issue when it comes to bias in the AFL, I'd totally park the umpiring issue because, with the exception of things like where the AFL actually comes out and apologises and says, well, we stuffed that up as per the free that Dawson should have got in the second match against Collingwood. But, it's just, you go around in circles and you can find any little moment in a game where you can argue the toss. I reckon the bigger issue, though, the bias issue in the AFL goes to scheduling. It goes to the monopoly that the MCG has on hosting the grand final. The best example right now, From what I heard over the weekend, Collingwood don't leave Victoria for the next 5 weeks.
That's correct.
So their run into the finals is 5 games, either at the MCG or having made the arduous journey all the way to Marvel Stadium.
Well, as our man Dan, now that he sees that, giving money to sport as opposed to hospitals is a bad thing, might renege on the MCG deal. I think suddenly everything's possible.
Why not?
Just quickly, we're used to eye-watering sums of money in sport, but I think this one is going to surprise a few people. Whether you follow it or not, you may be aware that there's been this Middle Eastern raid on big-name soccer players around the world. The clubs in Saudi Arabia are spending staggering amounts of money to bring Cristiano Ronaldo and players of reputationally that ilk. They tried to get Messi there as well. Kylian Mbappe is probably the most valuable player in the world, the Frenchman who plays for Paris Saint-Germain.
PSG, yeah.
Al Hilal, the club in Saudi Arabia, have launched a bid reportedly of some 494 million Australian dollars, 259 million pounds to buy him. So that's the buying fee. The wage, though.
Oh, that's just the fee to buy him.
That's the fee to buy him. The wage that they're offering for 1 year is 11.6 million pounds a week. 11.6 million pounds. That's 46.4 million pounds, remember? Pounds a month. He would be getting paid somewhere in the order of 700 million pounds.
Is he leaving that? Because the last time he was going to leave, it was brought up in the French Parliament.
Well, they said, because he's a national asset, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's important he plays in France. There are negotiations going on at the moment. Tough to say no as a club to the largest ever fee that's ever been offered.
Just absurd.
11.6 million a week. Someone will calculate what that means a second. It's a lot. FIVEAA News is coming up more on the sports show tonight. $17 Schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Albion, Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Barrow Hotel.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road.
She rides from the top of the driveway to test how fast she can go. And suddenly...
Wait, stop!
She's testing your brakes too. Stop and take time to ensure your car stops in time. And the brakes are all you hit. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
Hi, I'm Jo. I'm a registered nurse and I work with St Louis Home Care as a clinical care coordinator.
St Louis was started by my great-grandmother and is one big happy family with lovely staff just like Jo.
The people that work for St Louis are very loving and caring.
Whether it's personal care, preparing meals, shopping, home maintenance or social activities, we help people stay at home for longer.
If you're interested, come and join us.
Google St Louis Home Care today.
Show your RAA card at Snooze and save up to 40% off RRP, including selected mattresses and bed frames. Hurry, the Snooze Auto Club member event is now on. Exclusions, T's and C's apply.
It's amazing what a little snooze can do.
This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Partly cloudy and 16 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A woman will spend at least the next week behind bars after being charged with child neglect. More from Mel Usher.
Police allegedly found an 18-month-old girl at the family home in Waialanori last week with a nappy so full it was overflowing. It also had live maggots in it. Removing the nappy revealed her skin was peeling and she had infected wounds. Her 24-year-old mother was arrested on Friday and charged with aggravated criminal neglect and aggravated endangering life. 2 children in her care were taken to hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries. She fronted court yesterday. During the hearing, a bail inquiry was ordered for the woman, who also has a 5-year-old son. She'll be back in court on July 31.
In Victoria, the search continues for an opportunistic thief who stole a family car with a toddler in the back seat at Dandenong yesterday. The 2-year-old was found 70 minutes later wandering at a supermarket 16 kilometres away. The car still hasn't been found. And a car and electric scooter was stolen from a North Haven home this morning. Constable Matt Brown says police were called to a house on Lady Gallery Drive after reports of a break-in.
The suspect stole an electric scooter and the keys to a white 2010 Holden Commodore station wagon with rego of S084BLD, so that's S084BLD.
The electric scooter has since been recovered. Data suggests households are spending less on coffee and restaurants in a bid to preserve money for children, pets and insurance. A NAB consumer sentiment survey highlights the spending trade-offs people are making to combat rising grocery, energy and mortgage costs. New modelling suggests China's trade sanctions on Australian products haven't drastically affected the economy. More from Emily Minnie.
There were initial fears taxes slapped on goods like barley, wine and coal in 2020 would cost tens of billions of dollars in lost export earnings. But Productivity Commission data suggests that figure is closer to $225 million, less than 1% of GDP. The Australian reports trade restrictions have had virtually no effect on the economy because exporters were able to sell products to other markets. Lobsters were sold to Hong Kong, Taiwan and Vietnam, while coal was sold to India and Japan.
Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated from Greece's resort island of Rhodes as wildfires continue to burn out of control. There are fresh evacuation orders for the islands of Corfu and FIVEAA. This woman says it was a horrifying experience.
The fire was just behind our hotel. So we had to leave all of our luggage, passports and everything in the room. And then we were walking for 2 hours to get away from the fire and the smoke.
And Greta Thunberg has been fined by a Swedish court after being found guilty of disobeying a police order to leave a climate protest. But the 20-year-old activist has defended her actions, saying she was acting out of necessity.
It is true that I received an order which I did not follow, but according to me, we are in an emergency. The laws have to be changed. We know that we cannot save the world by playing by the rules because the rules have to be changed.
Hours after receiving the fine, she was forcibly removed from a similar protest. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with footy. Port Adelaide will challenge the two-match ban handed to Willie Rioli. He's been charged with striking Collingwood's Nathan Murphy in the final quarter of Saturday night's loss to the Pies. Still on footy, and Adelaide will be without two key players for the showdown on Saturday night, with Nick Murray set to have a reconstruction on his left knee after scans revealed he's ruptured his ACL, and Isaac Rankin will miss up to a month with a hamstring injury. Teammate Riley Thilthorpe telling Timmy G it's disappointing.
We love having the ball in his hands, and when he gets up a bit higher, he gets a lot more of the ball, so unfortunately he'll be out for the next couple of weeks, but we'll look forward to getting him back because he played unbelievable.
Meantime, Jasper Fletcher from Brisbane has been awarded the Rising Star nomination for round 19. Emma McKeown has finished fourth in the women's 100-metre butterfly at the World Aquatics Championships in Japan. The Olympic champion says the loss will give her extra motivation ahead of Paris next year.
Pretty disappointing with the time. I definitely know I'm capable of more. Really this just gives me more motivation to get back in and really give next year.
Audio thanks to 9. Kaylee McEwen has rebounded from her controversial disqualification in the women's 200-metre individual medley semi-final to win her 100-metre backstroke semi-final. And in some cricket to finish, England has named an unchanged squad for the 5th and final men's Ashes test starting on Thursday night. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Got a two-car collision to look out for this morning at Myland. That's on Henley Beach Road near South Road. Rich Haven, Burst Watermain slowing things up this morning. North East Road near Shepherd Street. One lane is out of action. We are slow for works at Wingfield. 2 lanes out there. North-South Muddy near Francis Road. And got a camera today, Cavan Road at Dry Creek. Feel like a coffee? Enjoy a freshly ground barista-made quality coffee from OTR. Order on the OTR app and it's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic. On 5AA.
Breaking news. Huge sale at Elite Bedding Edwardstown. Up to $500 discount on a Queen or King mattress.
Partly cloudy and 16 today, sunny tomorrow 17, showers on Thursday 18 and easing on Friday 16. At the moment 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
You want to shut out the wind and rain in winter, or the sun, flies and mozzies in summer, but you don't want to sacrifice your view? Then you need Phantom Screens. For protection from sun, wind and rain all year round, Phantom's SA-made outdoor motorised blinds can span up to 12 metres wide. They offer effortless automation, a blind that's there 1 minute and gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, choose Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
With hoodie up and head down, he's crossing the road, testing his new headphones. And then, he's testing your brakes too. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Test drive the Cherry Emoda 5 at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Go Cherry.
22 to 8. So I crunched the numbers, David, on the rumoured £11.6 million a week Kylian Mbappe deal. The French footballer to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, should it go ahead. It works out to be £1.657 million a day, pounds remember, £69,047 an hour, £1,150 a minute, £19 is second.
So every second he's out there, he's making about...
No, not out there. Every second he's alive.
That's just beyond... You can't comprehend it, can you?
It's somewhere in the order of 700 million.
So every time the clock goes tick...
£19.
Every time the clock goes tick, £19. About what's that? About $35. Enough money to buy yourself 2 really nice lunches somewhere. It's just insane, isn't it?
Mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling.
Hey, we're getting a stack of texts on the Dutton text line as we pay tribute to Fred Chock-a-Block, the Adelaide University football legend, who helped cast that wonderful, wonderful club in his image. Sam writes in, Chock-a-Block made a difference to the lives of so many young men. He taught respect, compassion, humour, and in this environment, lifelong friendships were made. Vale Fred. Thanks for that, Sam. And Max in Beaumont says, I'm a colleague of Chocker, a brilliant, brilliant mind, and he wrote a terrific PhD. From memory, the PhD that he wrote was something about using interest rates as a lever to combat inflation, which is quite timely today. Yeah, he's a really brilliant and talented economist.
Andrew's called in. Morning to you, Andrew.
Good morning. How are you, Will? Hello, David.
How are you, mate?
All right, David. I just want to take you to task, and I'm on your side about you having pot shots about the grand final at the MCG. All right?
Yep, go for it.
It's not going to be held at Adelaide Oval while the ground is half complete. It does not have enough bums down there.
Here we go. So what, mate?
No, David, it does not have enough bums. Have a look at the new stadium that they built at Perth. Have a look what they want to do up in Queensland. Have a look what's already in place in Sydney. The bottom line is, until people in Adelaide, I'm an ex-Victorian, but I want to declare something here. If you go back to the advertiser back in when they did the development, it's my statement. I'm the guy that was across the front of the advertiser at the time that they needed to pull Adelaide Oval down and do an MCG with it, if you remember that quote. That's me, right? I can remember having bets with guys at work. They said what's there now would never happen, and I won the lot. But until the scoreboard's gone and the trees are gone and that the rest of the stands are there, you haven't got enough seats.
Nah, I totally disagree, mate. It wouldn't change their minds. It wouldn't change their minds in Victoria because they'd mount this argument that the MCG is the spiritual home of football. It wouldn't matter if we had 110,000 seats and we ripped out all the Moreton Bay figs and knocked down the scoreboard. They would still say, in their typical custodial sense, no, the grand final belongs at the MCG.
Look, they're going to have to move it around. They've already messed up the Canberra option where rugby's moved in there. They should have moved another team into Canberra even before the Tasmania thing. If they want to have a truly national game, they've got to move it around, and that includes hosting a final up in Darwin. They do have to change their thing. If you go and get the crowd statistics in Melbourne, which I would have thought you would have done an article in the paper, compared to the old days when I'm a bit older than you, a young guy, their crowds in Melbourne are woeful. Woeful.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. I struggle with the attendance total argument when the US can host the Super Bowl in places that have just over 60,000 people in the biggest sport of a country of 300 million people.
Totally.
It's only slightly bigger than Adelaide Oval. So, yeah, I struggle, especially when you do all the other calculations with regard to MCC members and corporates at the MCG on the day. Everyone's in play once you take out MCC members. Let's go to Canberra. Phil Curry joins us as we turn our attention to federal politics. Morning to you, Phil.
Yeah, morning, fellas. I'm actually going to be controversial. I agree with Andrew. I reckon trying to complete the Dunny seat.
All right, well, that's what we've got time for. Phil, thank you. Unbelievable, Phil.
You et two, Phil. Et two. Seriously.
Unbelievable. You've been out of Adelaide too long, Phil.
Well, I thought.
Mind you, Phil's a Carlton fan, so you know,
one of them.
Yeah.
You've been ringing mates in Melbourne asking if they've got a spare room in September yet, Phil?
Oh, no, mate. too many injuries. We ain't going to get through the Pies on Friday night.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one.
We're missing too many big players. Yes.
I see Phil. Tony Abbott had a bit of fun yesterday. Found a photo of Albo wearing a treaty T-shirt at a midnight oil gig, and tried to extrapolate that out into the sort of secret and sinister plot behind his advocacy of a yes vote. Meanwhile, the yes camp having a bit of trouble working out exactly when the referendum should be held. What's the latest on that?
Oh, it is still going to be held between October and December, which is what the PM's been saying all along. He's just keeping the date, close to his chest because, look, there's no doubt the thing's in trouble, Dave, and so there's this Garma Festival up in Arnhem Land, I think, in the next couple of weeks, around early August, and it was always expected when Anthony Albanese went there, he was going to announce the date then. He's now changed his mind. He said, I'm not going to announce it then. He's going to hold out, and he's going to announce a bit like an election campaign, with a 5.5 week run-up, like we do an election campaign, and then they'll just go gangbusters and, pour out all the advertising and step up their efforts to try and, get this thing across the line. So it's a bit of a a rethinking of strategy because it's falling in support. You might remember the Republic referendum. I remember John Howard was keeping it close to his chest the date. He didn't want to announce it. Then, if memory serves me correctly, he accidentally let it slip when he visited a school, and some kid asked him when the referendum was going to be, and he just told him the date, and it got caught on camera. So there is a sort of element of sort of tactical, surprise with these things, a bit like an election, and so it's still going to be, by the end of the year. But there's a lot of people calling for it to be deferred and pushed off. You do that, it's dead. It's as good as dead. They're not going to do that.
Yeah. Phil Curry, read with interest in the Fin Review this morning. You're writing about the CFMEU's proposal for a 40% super profits tax to fund housing. It's not exactly a vote of confidence in Albo's $10 billion affordable housing policy.
Oh, it's a little bit of crazy season coming up. We've got the Labor Party National Conference in 3 weeks, and that's that big thing they have every 3 years where we go for 3 days and they all vote on motions and yell and scream and give speeches, and it's a great event. It's democracy at its barest, and there's a new secretary of the CFMEU, bloke called Zach Smith, so he thought he'd drop a big rock in the pond to get noticed. And he's going to call for a 40% tax on all super profits, whatever they are. They don't define that, of every company with a turnover of 100 million, and they reckon they'll raise $500 billion over 18 years, and it should all be spent on housing. Well, no one disagrees we need to spend more on public housing, but this would still, I think, tip $28 billion a year into the housing market to build 52,000 public homes. You think it's hard getting a builder now, or a trader, you won't have that sort of money flying around. The price of everything would go through the sky. But it is just him hanging a lantern over the housing crisis, and it's just not good for the government because they're still trying to get their housing fund through the Senate, and all this does is sort of embolden opponents like the Greens to keep demanding more from the government.
Yeah, no, it's always a massive stink, and one that all happens in full public view. Phil Curry, the national political editor for the Australian Financial Review. Thanks for that, mate. Another text here about Fred Chock-a-Block, this one from Steve Morris. He says this: Chocker was my accounting lecturer in 1988 at Adelaide Uni. He was a legend from the get-go, wore a different T-shirt every day, was so methodical in his preparation and delivery. His legend will live long, and many will be thinking of the great man today. And very important point, this one too, he was also a star for our beloved Roosters in the 1960s. From memory, he was a premiership player before he ventured to the Blacks. Vale Chocker, good on you, Steve. Thanks for that, mate.
I like this text on the Duttons text line. As all good ideas do, it starts with this. I was having a beer and think-taking with a mate that's a Crows supporter, me being Port. How about we build the best stadium in the world at West Thebby, holding 100,000 plus, becoming the Crows' home ground, and Port keep Adelaide Oval as their home ground, where they've played for 150 years, and the big games get played at Thebby. I can't imagine the residents would have any trouble with that. I mean, 4 trees got knocked over and a couple of white lines were painted, and it was World War III.
Aren't they getting an MCG-sized oval anyway?
Are they?
That's the plan, I think. Just put in 110,000 seats. I like it.
Yeah, I like big picture thinking.
That sounds like a good chat.
We like that on the Duttons text line, indeed too on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Let's check traffic and come back with more in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. 8 Mile Lane got a 2-car smash on Henley Beach Road near South Road. No great delays, but keep it in mind if you're heading that way this morning. Burst Water Main slowing things up at Ridge Haven, North East Road near Shepherd Street. Got a lane closed there. We are slow for works at Virginia, lane closed. Penfield Road near Old Port Wakefield Road, speeds at 40. And look out for cameras, Grant Road, Ranella, and Hub Drive at Aberfoyle Park. It's back to school, and the Adelaide Central Market is open today. Shop the best fresh local produce, healthy snacks and lunchbox essentials with over 70 traders under one roof. Adelaide Central Market, Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Putting the Commonwealth Games before the jury of Adelaide peers this morning. 8223 is the number. Not a question about whether it should be hosted here or who should host it, but rather, do the Games have a future? We're asking you this morning for the jury, good people of Adelaide. Are the Commonwealth Games fun or finished? Are they fun or finished?
Well, the immediate reaction, and we did it live on air, it was about 10 to 9 this time last week when the news started seeping out of Victoria that they were going to tear up the contract. A lot of people who have covered it for a long time, I mean, I think it was Scott Gullen, the athletics writer in Melbourne, he immediately put a piece up saying, this is it, this is going to kill it. It's going to kill it off.
Let us know what you think. We'll get a sense of whether Adelaide people think that the games have a future at all. Should have a future, I think is really what the question is. Are they fun or finished? Get calling now, 8223 0000. We'll get the jury's verdict on the other side of this break.
To celebrate 70 years in solar, SolarHeart is giving you the chance to win a Tesla Model 3 electric vehicle worth up to $70,000. Simply buy a SolarHeart solar power system, SolarHeart water heater, heat pump or home battery and enter for your chance to win. Get smart. Get SolarHeart. Terms and conditions apply. Visit solarheart.com.au for details. Open to AU residents 18+. Ends 30th of September 2023. SA permit T23/871.
For a limited time, get 20% off lenses and selected brands at OPSM. Shop the latest range and choose from brands like Ray-Ban, Oakley and Prada. Hurry, offer ends this Sunday. Brand exclusions and further T's and C's apply. OPSM, all about your eyes.
Now, it's never too hard to imagine having the perfect bathroom at home, but what does it really cost?
Well, that's one of the great things about Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens. When they renovate a bathroom, they do it to suit your budget. In fact, David Cox and the incredible team at Biourban can show you how to do a lot more with less. They plan every detail, and it means you know exactly how much it will cost and what the outcome will be.
And look, that's important because your bathroom is without doubt one of the most important rooms in your home. Plus, it's also an investment. Get it right and it will add incredible value and appeal, but get it wrong and you'll be stuck with the darn thing forever.
For bathrooms, visit biourban.com.au, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Gentlemen, wish you could sleep at night without getting up constantly to pee? Caruso's Prostate Ease Max relieves the frequency of nighttime urination in men with medically diagnosed benign prostatic hypertrophy or enlarged prostate. So if you'd like to pee less and sleep more, try Caruso's Prostate Ease Max. Available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If you've not had your symptoms diagnosed or if your symptoms persist or worsen, consult a medical practitioner.
Everyone at the back, please. Sitting quietly, please. In a circle, thank you. Today we're going to talk about what we'd like to be when we grow up.
A police girl.
Race car driver.
I want to be a gymnast. I want to be a concreter. With Adelaide exposed concrete.
I want to be a concreter too.
Me too.
AdelaideExposedConcrete.com.au. Best on ground all year round.
What's a concreter?
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Question today for the jury and the good people of Adelaide that make up the jury is essentially whether the Commonwealth Games has a future in your view, whether it should have a future in your view. Is it fun or finished? Don't worry about who's hosting, where and what the cost. Just in your view, should it continue? Is it fun or is it finished? We've got a few more spots for Adelaide jurors, if you want to have your say. 8223 0000 is the number.
Getting a few texts as well, but we want the call.
Yeah, we always privilege the calls. Let's start. 8223 0000. A few more spots on the jury if you'd just like to render your verdict. Of course, entirely anonymous, as is juror number 1. Good morning.
Well, it's finished and devastating because my floor routine in the gymnastics will never be seen.
Were you going to use the ribbon or the ball, or what was your act? What did your act involve, juror number 1?
Yeah, the ball, David. Yes, that would be my preferred option. Tumbling with the ball in the air. Yes.
It's an elegant sport.
Mate.
It's an elegant sport.
Juror number 1. Sounding a little bit there like Dave from Alberton.
Of course, you remain totally anonymous as a juror. Juror number 2, good morning.
Good morning. I still think they're fun. I still think they're a pretty significant step to the big dance 2 years later. So I'd like to see them. I love watching Australians compete against anybody, actually. So yeah. I think it's fun. Fun and keep going.
Yeah, good on you. I think that'd be my judgment if I was to render one.
100%.
I think they're fun.
Yeah.
Juror number 3, fun or finished the Commonwealth Games?
Oh, finished. Like, truly, how excited can you be about beating somebody from a
the impoverished nation in a running race. Like
That's a mean way to talk about England.
Well,
a failed state.
Good on you, jury number 3. Thank you.
I think as a nation, we've shown that over the years we can be very excited about beating impoverished nations. Beating anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, the pool gets a little bit tired, but actually getting to see Australians actually compete in finals on the track, I always find really exciting at the Commonwealth
The thing I don't understand, and this is some of the rhetoric out of Victoria last week about, and even some of the sort of it's all about health. We've got to put money into health. I reckon one of the really good things that things like the Commonwealth Games do is they encourage people to be active.
Mm.
And it's the sort of non-direct health spending that makes society healthier. I mean, you went to school with Kyle Chalmers.
Yeah.
He's an Emmanuel College boy, isn't
he? Yeah, well, no, he was well after me. He's a fair bit younger than me.
You never went.
How many times did you think I repeated? Is the real question. We'll just go through year 12 for the 19th time.
That's right. Exactly.
Became good mates with Kyle at that point.
Didn't reflect on your intellect, just your work ethic.
Thank you, David. I think the jury ultimately resolved that in the answer in the it's finished.
Yeah. So la vie.
The casting vote being jury number 1's ball-oriented floor routine.
Flat bag. Hello, boys.
Time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. Interstate Freight, Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg.
Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg with another FIVEAA news update. The police are out in force again this week with Operation Return to School underway, and they'll be targeting drivers who speed, fail to belt up, take illicit drugs before driving, or make other poor decisions when doing school pickups and drop-offs. Operation Return to School comes after Operation Vulnerable, which targeted jaywalkers and other pedestrian misdemeanours. One of the other problems that has been identified is the choice of names for police operations. Operation Return to School is seen as a pretty lame name for a serious police procedure, and they needed to be more descriptive. Some suggestions for operation names have been put forward, such as Operation Dickhead Cyclist, Operation Moron Won't Let Me Merge, Operation Nitwit Doesn't Indicate, and Operation Get Off My Arse You Wanker. They have been forwarded to SAPOL, and I'm sure when those operations get underway, we'll see those headlines splashed all over the advertiser very soon. In other news, a proposed wind farm for Port MacDonald will have disastrous effects on blue whales and other marine life, according to one Southern Coast protest group who are 100% against the project. They said their ultimate goal was to prevent the proposed area from becoming an offshore renewable energy zone. According to the Department of Energy, the Environment and Climate Change, the site is classified as a key ecological feature, and we only care about climate change if it's convenient. Evidence from WA, Northern Europe and Great Britain suggests that structures like wind farms have no adverse effects on blue whale populations, proving once and for all that whales are a lot smarter than environmental protesters. And finally, the Barbie movie is breaking all sorts of box office records with an opening weekend in Australia of $21.5 million. The movie's also breaking records for the number of confused 5- and 6-year-old children left in its wake because they don't understand it, which is because parents don't understand that the movie wasn't made for children, it was made for adults, which proves that blue whales are also a lot smarter than some parents. And that's the news for this Tuesday. I'm Wallace Fogg. More FIVEAA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
Vulnerable. That reminds me, Police Commissioner's 2 picks for the movies will be coming up after 8 o'clock when our very own Margaret Pomerantz comes in here, Lucy Loken, to provide her verdict on Tropic Thunder.
Looking forward to that. It's not too far away. Breaking at 8 right after the news.
Will retirement living suit you? You're invited to FIVEAA's free open home events to get a sneak peek of the lifestyle you could enjoy. Come along with family and friends to explore our communities, inspect our display homes, discover our social activities and chat with our friendly team. With 4 events across Adelaide from the 5th to the 10th of August, there's sure to be one near you. Take the first step and search FIVEAA Open Home today. RSVP is essential.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
It's Cyber Safety Awareness Month at Harvey Norman. For a limited time, they're giving away a free $50 cyber safety voucher that you can use towards any cybersecurity product. Use your voucher for the Norton 360 Premium, a 1-year subscription for one device, or the Trend Micro Device Security Pro. The best part? You can get either of these premium cybersecurity products for $0 with the voucher. It's more important than ever to safeguard your digital life, whether you're browsing the web, shopping online, or accessing your favourite social media platforms. Protect yourself and your devices with industry-leading cybersecurity solutions. Hurry, this fantastic deal ends on August 17th. Take control of your online safety today by visiting Harvey Norman.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options, Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 16. With the 8 o'clock news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience to treat those niggling injuries. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A Whyalla mother remains behind bars awaiting a bail report after facing court charged with criminal neglect. Police allegedly found her 18-month-old daughter sitting in her own faeces with live maggots in her nappy. The 24-year-old's accused of aggravated criminal neglect and aggravated endangering life. The court also heard she was on bail for assault. She'll face court again next week. The manhunt continues for an opportunistic thief who stole a family car with a toddler in the back at Dandenong. More from Isabella Stajkovski.
A little boy is this morning waking up safe and sound in his family home after a terrifying ordeal late yesterday. An opportunistic thief stealing his father's car, the 2-year-old still inside. His dad had only stepped out momentarily to speak with another driver following a bingle in Dandenong. The toddler was missing for more than an hour, found wandering the aisles of a Woolworths some 16 kilometres away by a member of the public who thought something was amiss. Police this morning are appealing for information to find the crook and the family's Black Kia Carnival.
A report suggests China's trade restrictions on Australian products have had virtually no effect on the economy. There were initial fears taxes on goods like barley, wine and coal in 2020 would cost tens of billions of dollars in lost export earnings. But Productivity Commission modelling shows the sanctions cut real GDP by just $225 million. More Australians are falling behind on their home and personal loan repayments. More from Emily Minnie.
Home loan delinquency rates are at their highest level since the start of the pandemic. Data from Experian Credit published in The Australian shows 1.4% of all home loans are in arrears. It's the 5th consecutive month missed payment rates have risen, while close to 6% of personal loan borrowers have missed a payment in the past 15 months. The creditor says the financial stress of rapid interest rate rises are being reflected in the data.
There's been a dramatic rise in voter enrolment ahead of the upcoming referendum on an Indigenous voice to Parliament. Figures from the Australian Electoral Commission show the national enrolment rate is now 97.5%, while the Indigenous enrolment rate's risen above 90% for the first time ever. Greece's government's warning the worst may still be to come as the heatwave worsens on islands badly hit by fires. More from Brett McLeod.
The fires on the island of Rhodes remain out of control when they've already forced 19,000 people to leave their homes. As well, Corfu and FIVEAA have been subject to evacuation orders. Authorities on the island of Corfu say arson is to blame for the extreme fires. Britain's Met Office says it doesn't matter what started them, climate change has made them worse. And Greece's Prime Minister has told Parliament there are 3 difficult days ahead before forecasters expect the temperatures to start dropping.
Kmart and Target emerging, both owned by Wesfarmers. Target's being folded into Kmart to create a singular $10 billion business. Retail expert Gary Mortimer says there'll be redundancies at head office due to role duplication.
Once you bring those businesses together with one central leadership team and share technologies, you reduce that duplication, you reduce those costs, you increase efficiencies, and hopefully what shoppers will see is lower prices in the long term.
And Twitter has changed its brand and logo overnight from its famous blue bird to X. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Adelaide will have to make at least 2 changes for Saturday night's showdown with injuries to Nick Murray and Isaac Rankin. Murray will miss the rest of the season with a ruptured ACL, while Rankin is out with a hamstring injury. The Crows already without suspended forward Josh Rochelle. And Port will fight the 2-game ban handed to Willie Rioli at the tribunal tonight. To cricket, Australian Test skipper Pat Cummins is denying reports he'll give up the captaincy at the end of the Ashes. Cummins' tactics in the drawn 4th Test have come under scrutiny. On social media, former Victorian wicketkeeper Darren Berry claims Cummins will step down, but coach Andrew McDonald says that's rubbish.
I think it's fair and reasonable to critique some of the execution and tactics that we implemented, but to go as far as suggesting that the captain resign post-series, I think is a bit far-fetched. And there's opinions that we respect and there's opinions that we don't.
To soccer now, South Aussies have had their first opportunity to watch Women's World Cup action, and they weren't disappointed as Brazil turned on a show in a 4-0 demolition of Panama in front of almost 14,000 fans at Highmarsh Stadium. The third goal, arguably the goal of the tournament so far, as the Brazilians put on some dazzling skills before finishing.
Debinha making strides up against Castillo. Little exchange with Adriana. This is lovely play. It's fantastic play. It's 3-0 Brazil. Pia Zanerato. Sublime from the South Americans.
Certainly was that audio thanks to Optus Sport. And Olympic champion Emma McKeon has finished 4th in the women's 100-metre butterfly. That's at the World Aquatics Championships in Japan. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Good morning. At Marlene, got a 2-car collision, Henley Beach Road near South Road. Got a few delays on the drive in, but nothing too bad. Ridgehaven, Burst Watermain, slowing things up North East Road near Shepherd Street. And got a few slow bits around this morning. South Road at Edwardstown, also Marion Road at Anzac Highway with cameras Young Street, Brunello, and Witten Road at Port Nalunga. Get the cargo-friendly LDV G10 or V80 van from $33,490 drive away for ABN holders. T's and C's and exclusions at ldvautomotive.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Breaking news, huge sale at Elite Bedding Edwardstown. Up to $500 discount on a Queen or King mattress.
Partly cloudy and 16 today, sunny tomorrow 17, showers on Thursday 18 and showers easing on Friday 16, at the moment 11. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
You're simply the best.
Another one in the paper today. We're going to chat with SA Health about this and try to get to the bottom of what's going on. Risk factors, treatment and so forth, exposure. We'll get into all that after 8:30 today. The other thing we're going to talk about, which seems bizarre in the middle of Adelaide's winter, is talk about heat. Because it's not just Europe at the moment that's suffering through a scorching heat wave. The United States, parts of it, are breaking all sorts of records. We're going to be taking you to Arizona, where they have just come out, well, they're still in a period of 24 consecutive days over 43.3 degrees Celsius.
Far out.
So for them, it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So imagine almost a month of days over 43 degrees. It'd be insufferable.
Imagine what it'd do to your garden. Like you can't.
It'd be all dead.
It would. Like it doesn't matter. Like putting shade cloth and things like that up. It's the ambient temperature, it's the heat that will kill so many plants. It's just crazy.
We'll talk more about that after 8:30. Lucy's movie review is not too far away, but it's time for Breaking It Up.
Well, when we caught up with Phil Curry just a few minutes ago, he was talking about the CFMEU's plans, or calls rather, which they're going to pursue at the National ALP conference for a super tax on company profits to fund housing. Locally, I just want to take stock of what is going on at the moment in the South Australian building industry. I received a really interesting and powerfully written anonymous document signed by a very concerned member of the SA construction industry. Now, I've spoken a few times about the workers' entitlement scheme IncoLink, which is the Victorian owned and operated scheme that contributes money back to the CFMEU and also in partnership to the Victorian Master Builders Association. It's the subject of great animosity across the nation from others in the building sector who think that this sort of chummy and clubby relationship between the union and the peak building body in Victoria is unacceptable. Well, what's happening is they're trying to roll out IncoLink here in South Australia, even though we've had our own entity here called Burst since 1989, which has done a perfectly serviceable job looking after workers' entitlements. Now, this is what the letter I've got says. Dave, I recently heard you on 5AA talking about the CFMEU and IncoLink. You need to keep exposing what is happening on SA construction sites. There's a major Victorian power play underway. Businesses like mine are caught in the middle. I'm a subcontractor who works on Tier 1 building sites. We've been around for many years, South Australian through and through. I resent the fact that we're being stood over by a bunch of Victorians and told how to run our own backyard. The Victorian industry is a basket case with a shitload of businesses going under lately. We don't want their rubbish here. Tier 1 builders are being told by the CFMEU that unless their subcontractors sign a union deal, they, quote, won't be allowed, end quote, to work on site. We've also been told by the CFMEU that if we don't do what they want, they'll bring in Victorian subbies who will. They're making it clear that we all have to pay into IncoLink, the Victorian Redundancy Fund. This appears to be basically the, on the surface, respectable arm of the CFMEU. And while IncoLink does do good things for workers, in reality it's a cover for the main game, funding the CFMEU. And this is the point about transparency that is upsetting a lot of businesses here. All this money that's going to be paid by South Australian employers for the benefit of the Victorian CFMEU, and worst of all, the bloody Victorian MBA. What a bunch of sellouts they are. If the SA MBA ever supported this crap, I would rip up my membership. Well, for the record, the SA MBA very much is not. They've raised it with the Premier, who, and this is where it's becoming a bit dispiriting, this whole story. Peter Malinauskas is on the record as saying he, for the life of him, can't see why South Australian builders and subbies should have to pay money into an entity that's wholly run out of Victoria and has provided no clarity or transparency around exactly how the $42 million in funds held by Burst can now be managed out of Victoria. Well, it's my understanding that because of the way industrial laws work, it's a federal head of power under the Australian Constitution. The South Australian government has almost like raised the white flag and admitted that it's powerless to act. For their part, Matt Cowdery, I've spoken to, the Shadow Treasurer here, thinks that the government should have done more and should look at whether they can have some sort of mandated state fund or elevate Burst to that role. But the picture that this builder paints on the ground, and I've seen it confirmed with other builders who want to remain anonymous because they don't want to raise the shackles of Setca's mob, but it's now being put into South Australian EBAs. And you know, the fact that we've got our own entity that's been managed soundly is now going to be left to wither and die on the vine with all of this money being channelled into Victoria. It's a bloody disgrace.
13 minutes after 8, the long-running saga of the electrification of the Gawler train line might be rumbling to a close. You might recall 14th of June 2022, the line finally reopened, having been fully electrified. But the issue then we faced was there wasn't enough rolling stock to fully service the line with just electric trains. That is going to change next month. The state government has received its latest delivery, meaning diesel trains will run on the line for the very last time in coming weeks. Here is the Transport Minister, Tom Koutsantonis, on 9 News.
That's the hope and aspiration. Ultimately, things can go wrong. We hope they won't. We're working really hard to make sure it's all on track. But yes, we're getting very close to the end of it now.
Fuel Watch on this Tuesday morning. Find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Download the free RAA app from your app store today. Most outlets around town now in the $2 range. The United Grand Junction Road Ottawa, $1.99.5. In fact, if you get it without a 2 in front of it, that's called cheap this morning. Some are a lot cheaper. Lovells Service Station, North East Road, Inglewood, $1.89.9. The cheapest unleaded's at Southern Cross Grange Road, Fulham, $1.76.9. If you've got a Costco membership, you can get it for $1.60.7 as well, so significantly cheaper. The cheapest diesel's there at convenience Shearer Drive, Seaford at $1.69.5. But everything's heading up beyond the $2 mark at the moment. A few texts coming through on the Dutton's text line.
One here simply saying about the Commonwealth Games, it's a glorified school sports day. Thank you for that. And Jared, once a Victorian, always a Victorian. That's in relation to a call earlier about redoing the Adelaide Oval. Leave the Adelaide Oval alone. Thank you for that, Jared. Couldn't agree with you more.
The Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace, the 7-seater that's perfect for weekends away, camping trips, and the crazy Saturday sports rush. Lucy's movie reviews coming up in just a moment. We'll check traffic. Then after 8:30 today, we'll cross to one of the hottest places on earth and bring you up to speed with SA Health's take on what appears to be a very serious meningococcal outbreak in South Australia.
Thanks, Will. Burst water main slowing things up this morning at Ridge Haven, North East Road near Shepherds. Record Lane close there. Getting busy in a few spots, including Fullerton Road at Glen Osmond Road. That's for those works just near the Arc Bar. Sluggish Park Terrace at North Adelaide. Got lane out of action at Virginia. Penfield Road near Old Port. Wakefield Road speeds at 40. And look out for cameras, Grant Road, Ranella. And got one right now, Cavan Road at Dry Creek. The Skoda demo clearance. It's the same high-end style, just with more experience and some money off. Visit your local Skoda dealer today. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
G'day, Treaders. Obviously, we called the game together, Timmy, on the weekend, and for me, 3/4 was brilliant. Full credit to Port Adelaide. But when you lead it at home in a wet, greasy night, I think they were, 17 points up by memory? Three-quarter time. But then you lose the last quarter 6 goals to 3. You'd have to sit back and be really disappointed.
Rowie and Timmy G.
If they get early goals, that's the momentum shift. And they got 2 within 4 minutes.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blowing up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
G'day everyone, Cornsey here. Now, I know a great team and I see one, and the South Australian hydraulic team I rate the highest is BL Shipway. I've known them for a long time. David Shipway is one of the best blokes you'll ever meet. BL Shipway, they've been looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953 with brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Enerpac, Hydac, Oilpath, EasyFit and many more. And if you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, the South Australian team you can count on.
At CMAX Clinical Research, we're on a mission to revolutionise healthcare, and you can help. If you're aged 18 and above with no health concerns, you could be eligible for healthy volunteer trials at CMAX. With studies looking at a range of potential treatments for serious lung conditions, to kidney disease and more, there'll be something to interest you. Upon successful participation, you will be paid for your time. Check your eligibility today. Log on to cmax.com.au.
If you thought it was tricky to source a great deal on a new Volkswagen, think again. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's demo clearance is on now. We've loaded up on a massive range of demo Volkswagens available for delivery right now. Loads of colours, loads of options, plus on-site finance options available. And remember, we offer next-day servicing too. So hurry, the Volkswagen demo clearance won't last. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry Motor 5. State-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
90 minutes after 8, we're talking heat after 8:30. Heat waves in the Northern Hemisphere, the likes of which we've never seen. 24 consecutive days over 43.3 in Arizona. We'll take you there and we'll also check in with SA Health about this now. What is the 17th case of meningococcal in South Australia? But before all that, we're taking you to the movies. Movies are better on the big screens at Wallace Cinemas, Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and the Piccadilly, wallace.com.au. The box office came in yesterday after we got off the air about how the two big blockbuster films have fared in Australia, and similar story to what we saw in the United States. People are coming out in their droves to see, guess what, things they haven't seen before. Not the 8th iteration of something, or the the reimagining of something that was made a long time ago.
Everyone I know who's seen Oppenheimer absolutely raves about it. So actually, the same as Barbie. Everyone I know, and they are overwhelmingly of the female persuasion. But a daughter, a few female friends said, yeah, it's excellent. So
nice to be talking movies again. But the great thing about movies is they live forever, and you can talk about those that have gone by as well. And Luce is our in-house movie reviewer. We had the police commissioner yesterday declare 2 movies that he put to our listeners to vote on. They were Dumb and Dumber and Tropic Thunder. And ultimately, Tropic Thunder got the gong. We're all thinking police films from the Commissioner, Luce. Don't know if you were surprised by his take, or did you know he had comedies coming?
No, I didn't know, but I said it doesn't have to be cop movies because the police commissioner's choice is the theme. So he didn't have to have a theme.
No, it's just his 2 favourites.
So I prefaced that it didn't need to be police movies, but I didn't know what he would pick. I know you've just said movies last forever. We only had to go back to 2008.
Yeah, this wasn't in the annals of history.
This is our most recent.
Are they both
one.
from then? Are they both? Oh, Tropic Thunder's from 2008.
2008 was Tropic Thunder. Dumb and Dumber is from 1994.
Is it that old? Wow. I can remember when it came out.
My birth year.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What that was.
Now, I'm about to give my review, but I have a surprise for after this review. That's exciting. Tropic Thunder. I didn't dislike this movie, but I didn't love it.
That's
Listen.
not a good start.
I didn't dislike this movie, but I didn't love it. Of course, no one will be surprised at that.
Yeah.
My main irritation with this film, controversially, was Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Oh, no way!
Everything about him I didn't like. Props, though, albeit, to his talent for being able to play a method actor who goes too deep. As an American, Robert Downey Jr., he played an Australian character who was playing an African American who then pretended to be Chinese. It was impressive, but it still didn't make me like his character in any way. Overall, yes, it's politically incorrect and definitely should be taken with a grain of salt watching it this year, but I did find it inconsistently funny. The all-star cast was a joy to watch, except for Robert Downey Jr., and they truly emphasised the plot. I wouldn't call it a classic, nor would I watch it again, and it was definitely on the ridiculous side, but still it was better than Caddyshack. 2.5 stars.
Now you're just trying to upset me.
That was just a stab to the heart of David Penberthy.
2.5 stars. Commissioner, please don't send me to jail.
Yeah, I wouldn't jaywalk anytime soon.
Now,
Kirk Lazarus is one of the great cinematic characters.
I think the point that his unlikability is what makes him. He's such a.
Every review I read said exactly that, but he just. By the end of it, I was yelling at the screen. I was like, get him off! Take out his damn contact lenses. He looks so stupid with his blonde hair, doing a terrible Australian accent.
What about the scene when I can't remember his name, the African-American actor who's in it, just finally cracks it at him and just starts shouting at him, going, "You're not black!"
It was such a great,
so stupidly awesome
take on how vacuous and stupid actors can be at times.
Yeah, it's an in-joke.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I know we highlighted that I would struggle to find a scene I could replay.
Yeah, how did you go on that front?
Here
I
is,
can't think of one.
I think, only about 30 seconds where there wasn't swearing. It did actually feature Robert Downey Jr. when they're about to descend on the drug lab in the middle of the jungle, and because they're thinking they're still playing out this movie and they've realised they haven't. This is how they determine what they should do.
The Book of Tropic Thunder. Yeah, you guys read the book? The flap. I read the back flap. It's on the pictures. Well, it's okay. It's exactly the same as in the script. Cool. You guys don't read the script, right?
I don't read the script. Script reads me.
So I know I said I didn't like Robert Downey Jr., but that quote, honestly, I was like, there's no swearing. I mean, there was swearing immediately after that, but I've made it PG for radio.
What do you think of Tom Cruise in all these?
Yeah, I liked him, actually.
He's great.
Clearly wearing a fat suit and a bald
Good
wig.
dancing, too.
Yeah, that was great. I nearly
What's
picked...
the song? Is it Low? Is that the hip-hop song?
Apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur, had the whole... Anyway, that came out 2008 when the movie came out. I remember seeing that on Year 8 camp, walking 9 kilometres through Kangaroo Island. We were belting that out. Now, I have a surprise movie review for you both.
Oh!
In exciting news.
Did you watch Dumb and Dumber as well? Did you
God,
go the
no.
double?
I definitely did not watch Dumb and Dumber. I actually went to the cinema on the weekend.
You saw a real live, actually happening movie.
I went to the cinema to see one currently in cinemas.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Neither.
Oh, goodness.
A different one.
I went, it was for a charity fundraiser for St. Vincent de Paul in Paynham, and they had a charity fundraiser to see Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
The new one.
The brand new one, Indiana Jones 5.
What did you think?
Well, I've got an official review here for you.
Let's hear it.
Yes.
2 for the price of 1.
That's right. The latest Indiana Jones film was everything you'd expect. Even at 80, Harrison Ford does pack a punch as Dr. Henry Jones and does really bring to life his final adventure as the famed archaeologist. It was entertaining and somewhat believable right up until the end. I didn't like the ending as... Even though the entire thing is fiction, it was far too far-fetched. I'll give you a hint. Time travel.
Yeah, okay.
The plot, it was a 2.5-hour movie. The plot was great up until the 2-hour, 10-minute mark. The climatic ending did fall flat, but overall there was enough intrigue to keep me hooked. You didn't have to have seen the previous movies. I have seen the first 3. The 4th one came out 15 years ago. Same year as Tropic Thunder, I'll note. I haven't seen the 4th one, but there was many a nod to the previous movies, which added to the nostalgia. Overall, it was an easy watch. There was CGI that was used on the younger Indiana Jones, which was a bit hit and miss, but that wasn't surprising. It was comical, but they definitely tried hard with the CGI.
Was Phoebe Waller-Bridge good? I think she's awesome.
She was great.
Yeah.
She was
she's
great
so
as
talented.
the antagonist and protagonist.
Okay.
She's a bit of both there. 3.5 stars for the latest Indiana Jones.
Wow. High praise coming from you, Luce.
Goodness gracious.
My third surprise of the day is it's not another review, but next week for the Undie Drive, I am up for a movie challenge.
Oh.
Now, I'm giving people a bit of time to think about this because on Monday we're going to set a donation limit. Now, whoever wants to contribute on Monday, and we'll flesh this out, but there is a chance for someone to pick my movie on Monday.
Oh, I like that.
For the David and Will Undie Drive.
So people can bid money and you get the choice to pick the movie that gets reviewed.
Yep. So
It's a lot of power.
If you have movies that you think I ought to watch, have a think about it between now and Monday, and you'll be able to find out more on Monday how to be the movie picker. But
And frankly, this is all about, raising money.
absolutely,
For people
the
doing it
donations
tough.
go
So
to Hutt Street Centre and Catherine House.
let's try to turn this into a bit of a bidding war.
That's right.
Completely.
We'll set some parameters around it, but put it this way, if you take part in donating in some way on Monday, you're in with a chance to pick my Monday movie.
Oh, how exciting. Oh, that's superb news. Fantastic.
Open to individuals and also to businesses as well.
Yes, individuals and businesses. I will probably...
So if BHP want to, say, we'll give you $1 million if you watch, The Exorcist or something.
I was going to say the only caveat is I do not do horror, and I will refuse to do horror.
But you told me you saw Snowtown and thought it was quite a good film.
That was more a thriller, psychological, based on a true story. I'm not going to go and watch I don't even know.
Saw.
Yeah, or Wolf Creek. No deal.
Fair enough.
Maybe have a backup as well in the off chance that I have actually seen it, because I'll have to check off air that I haven't seen it.
Maybe BHP could put in $1 million and we won't make Lucy watch Deepwater Horizon, because they don't come off too good in that one. BP, should I say, not BP. BP is what I mean.
That's about the Gulf of Mexico spill, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. If they give us $1 million, she won't watch it. Otherwise...
And we'll never talk about it again.
Yeah, exactly. Good on you, Luce. Great news. The
Excellent
Underdrive from Monday, 6 o'clock next week. 29 after 8, 5AA News Time.
If the bank's declined your business loan, no worries. Universal Finance make business loans easy. No financials required. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now. For lightning fast settlement, sometimes in just a matter of hours. See Universal Finance in Kent Town today. Or search Universal Finance right now. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation. For a limited time, get 20% off lenses and selected brands at OPSM. Shop the latest range and choose from brands like Ray-Ban, Oakley and Prada. Hurry, offer ends this Sunday. Brand exclusions and further T's and C's apply. OPSM, all about your eyes.
Adelaide Direct Stationers is more than just stationery. We're one of SA's largest suppliers of tech products, washroom products, PPE, workplace health and safety equipment, office furniture, food, snacks, beverages and much more. We have all your office and business needs in one place, with free next day delivery on orders over $50, plus same day 2-hour express delivery. Adelaide Direct Stationers, serving SA's largest businesses and a preferred government supplier. Visit adelaidedirectstationers.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 16 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A mother remains in custody after being charged with child neglect. Police allegedly found an 18-month-old girl at her home in Wailanori last week with a nappy so full it was overflowing and also had live maggots in it. Her 24-year-old mother's been charged with aggravated criminal neglect and aggravated endangering life. The toddler and her 5-year-old brother were taken into care. A bail report's been ordered for the woman who'll be back in court next week. A toddler in the back of a car stolen in Dandenong yesterday has been reunited with his parents. A member of the public found the 2-year-old wandering in a supermarket 16 kilometres away. Detective Senior Sergeant Dean Hayes says the stolen car's yet to be found and the opportunistic thief remains on the run.
The car at the moment is still outstanding as stolen. The child was dropped off at Woolworths in Furniture Gully, and investigations are still ongoing as to try and locate the stolen vehicle.
Holidays, entertainment and a morning coffee are most likely to be cut back on by households looking to save some money as the cost of living continues to bite. NAB data shows we're less inclined to ease spending on our pets, children and insurance. People making cuts to eating out at restaurants and trips to the movies are saving an average of nearly $300 a month. The Royal Adelaide Show's just 38 days away and organisers are on the hunt for workers. CEO Will Rayner says there's a job for everyone.
Certainly we need a wide range of people because we've got that really wide range of roles and a lot of it's casual work. So that does lend itself to that sort of student population or the backpacker population. But we also have sort of more corporate roles and professional roles, and we have a full-time staff there at the show as well. So it really is right across the range.
Voter enrolment surging to record levels ahead of the Voice to Parliament referendum later this year. Figures from the Australian Electoral Commission show the enrolment rate among First Nations peoples risen above 90% for the first time ever. The AEC's Evan Egan-Smith says the growth is a result of years of hard work to boost democratic participation.
It will be the greatest base for democratic participation that we've ever had for an electoral event in Australia. It's phenomenal. Youth enrolment's over 90% for the first time. Indigenous enrolment has gone up significantly to 94.1%. We're seeing growth across the board, which is really, really pleasing.
Elon Musk has officially rebranded Twitter as X. More from Alison Petrowski.
The iconic blue bird has been officially replaced overnight with the letter X, projecting the new logo onto the exterior of the company's head office in San Francisco. Elon Musk wants the app, formerly known as Twitter, to become a super app like China's WeChat, a one-stop shop for social media posts, payments and banking. X has sentimental value for the billionaire. In 1999, he was the co-founder of online bank X.com, and under Musk's replacement, it grew to become PayPal. Meanwhile, his rebounding Tesla stock has resulted in Musk reclaiming the #1 spot on the Forbes World's Richest Person list.
And a huge move from Wesfarmers, which owns Kmart and Target. They'll fold Target into Kmart to make a $10 billion business, but shoppers are being promised stores won't change and it will only affect the back-end processes like office and technology. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Adelaide has been dealt a cruel blow, losing another key defender, Nick Murray, to a serious knee injury. Scans have revealed he's ruptured the ACL in his left knee, meaning he's set to miss around 12 months of football. Teammate Riley Philthorpe telling Timmy G it's tough for the 22-year-old.
That's a huge blow for us, especially with Tommy out with the same thing, but luckily we've got a lot of depth in our sample team, and I'm sure we'll be all right. But yeah, it's a huge loss.
The Crows will also be without Isaac Rankin for 3 to 4 weeks because of a hamstring injury. Meantime, Carlton has ruled out 2 of its biggest stars for Friday night's blockbuster clash against Collingwood at the MCG. Sam Walsh will miss up to 3 games with a hamstring strain himself, while Jack Silvani is sidelined for an indefinite period with a sprained knee. And Collingwood has confirmed Mason Cox, Ash Johnson and Harvey Harrison have re-signed, the trio agreeing to 2-year contract extensions with the Magpies. Well, England has named an unchanged squad for Thursday's 5th and final test at the Oval. South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis is about to hit the court in his first-round match at the Atlanta Open. He's going to take on French veteran Gael Monfils. And 13-year-old Aussie Arissa True has become the first female in history to win double gold in skateboarding. That's at the X Games. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
G'day there. 2-car crash at Salisbury East. That's on Bridge Road near Winvale Drive. Ridgehaven Burst Watermain slowing things up today. North East Road near Shepherd's Record Lane out of action. Busy in a couple of spots, including Park Terrace in North Adelaide. Also Nottage Terrace at Medindi. Lane closed this morning at Woodville Road near Bowers Street with speeds at 40. And keep an eye for a camera to Wishon Road at Port Nalunga. Arrow Scarf's 4-day forensic exclusive sale ends this Thursday with 50% off selected Manchester, including brands like Tontine, Sheridan, Linen House and more. Arrowscarf, great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Breaking news, huge sale at Elite Bedding Edwardstown. Up to $500 discount on a Queen or King mattress.
Partly cloudy and 16 today, sunny tomorrow 17, showers on Thursday 18 and easing on Friday 16. At the moment 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Here's one from Jasmine, the operations manager at Buy Urban and the driving force behind the success of all renovation projects. Jasmine swears to ensure all the trades arrive on time, every time, to ensure a seamless transition to your stunning Buy Urban bathroom. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
The high-tech home of tomorrow has a new name. It's not Siri or Alexa. It goes by the name Jim. Add data, security and complete connectivity to your home with Jim's antennas and security. Start by asking Jim to boost your Wi-Fi for streaming TV and gaming. It's easy with integrated cables and extra data points. Jim can make sure your free-to-air channels are crystal clear too. For a high-tech home, just ask Jim. Hey Jim. Jim's antennas and security.com.au.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy.
Away, we'll check in with SA Health as well. We're up to 17 cases of meningococcal in South Australia. We'll get some advice from them about what's happening, what you can do to prevent risk factors and identify it before it becomes a potentially fatal problem. That's not too far away. What is far away is Phoenix in Arizona in the United States, where they're currently suffering through one hell of a heat wave, 24 consecutive days over what they'd call 110 Fahrenheit, what we would call 43 degrees. Almost a month worth of days over 43 degrees. I
Hard
can't
to
imagine living through that.
We normally get 3 or 4 days like that in a row at worst. And you know, your house feels like a pizza oven. It heats up. It doesn't cool down for days after. You open all the windows, but you feel like it takes about 48 hours to get proper respite from it. But imagining more than a month of it, it's incomprehensible.
We're heading to Phoenix now to chat with Chris from the National Weather Service in Phoenix. Chris, good morning to you.
Hello.
So, Chris, Phoenix, like our state here down under South Australia, is a desert state, but crikey, we find it so hard to imagine what you guys are going through. What's life been like in Phoenix for the past month?
Well, very hot. That's kind of an understatement. But if we wouldn't have air conditioning, it'd be awfully terrible.
So has this broken all the weather records, Chris, or is there some that are still outstanding?
We haven't broken like the all-time record hottest day, but as far as the length of time, as you said, 24. Actually, we're up to 25 days in a row of 110 degrees Fahrenheit or more. But it is breaking lots of daily records. In fact, the last 12 days, we've seen at least 114 degrees or more every day.
So in terms of how it affects people's lives in Phoenix, we know here in South Australia when we have these big heat waves, we always put calls out to check on elderly neighbours and so forth. Have there been hospitalisations as a result of this, Chris?
There have been. It's a little bit hard or a little bit early to tell how many, but we've had at least, as far as people that call for like our 911 to get emergency services, at least 250 of those over the last week. Likely it's a lot more than that. It's hard to get the up-to-date numbers all the time, and eventually we'll find out, and there have been at least a few heat deaths already.
Wow. What about things like school? Like, do the schools keep going? I know here in South Australia we have rules about the kids aren't allowed outside during lunchtime when it gets over certain temperatures. Has school been going on as normal?
Well, most of the schools around here are not quite in. Haven't quite started. Some have, and any of those that are currently in school, they may only be able to do like a morning recess or something like that. So they definitely keep them indoors during the hottest part of the day in the afternoon.
What's the hottest day you've had so far as part of this stretch?
Well, we had 2 days that got up to 119 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's 48 degrees Celsius. That would be hotter than the hottest day ever in Adelaide, which is what, 46. That's unbelievable. So just give us some perspective, Chris, for those of us that are unfamiliar with the climate there in Phoenix. What would a normal summer look like? How many days over 110 would you normally have, roughly, or in a row during a normal summer?
During a normal summer, it might be like 25 to 30 over 110. And we are at a current streak of 25 in a row, so we're easily going to eclipse the normal amount.
Wow. How well designed is Phoenix for this type of heat? Like, in terms of, you mentioned air conditioning. Surely everybody has to have it. I mean, there must be people who can't afford it, though, particularly with power prices being what they are at the moment.
Yes. Unfortunately, there probably are still some people that do not have it. So if they don't, at least the cities around here will set up like cooling shelters and that kind of thing, where people can go and get access to air conditioning if they need it. But as far as most people do have air conditioning, or at least hopefully they do.
How about you, mate? What's your go-to strategy to avoid it? Have you got a pool at home, or what's your way of getting over dealing with all this?
Well, just do our best. Essentially, if it's really hot, sometimes we don't want to run the air conditioner as much. Maybe we will go to a store or something like that that's really cold. Or, yes, we do have a pool, so it's taking a dip in the late afternoon when it's not, like, really high sun angles. That's always nice, too.
Couple of ice cold buds as well, maybe.
As far as what?
A couple of ice cold buds.
Yeah, if we're not working, sure.
What do the long range forecasts suggest there's any relief on the way, or at a time when it'll break?
Over the next 5 days, no. It's still going to be 115 or plus every day, I would say. But we are looking at what we are expecting is the monsoon season and getting thunderstorms. And if that happens by the weekend, we're really hoping that'll help to cool things down. And it's just, normally we would see that around first week of July, but it just has not happened.
Well, Chris, hopefully that it comes in, something unexpected happens weather-wise and you get some relief there. We really appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah, good on you, Chris.
25 consecutive days of temperatures over 43 degrees there in Phoenix, Arizona. Chris is from the National Weather Service there. Big thanks to him for his time and chatting to us here in Adelaide this morning.
It does make a huge difference too. Like, people go, it's just another couple of extra digits. Like, we'll think back to that 46.6 degree day. Like, that did not feel like it was slightly hotter than 43.
No. And
That was something else.
So they've had 2 days of 48 in a row.
Wow.
The most troubling statistic in South Australia at the moment might well be that we're up to our 17th case of meningococcal disease in South Australia this year. We had 8 at the same time last year, and in 2022 we had 14 for the entire year, not up to July 25, the entire year. So it's been a concerning year. The 17th case is a 55-year-old man from regional South Australia who's in a stable condition. We've had a host of these, including, tragically, the death of a 36-year-old man from Ferryden Park. Dr. Louise Flood is the Director of Disease Prevention and Control at SA Health. Dr. Flood, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So what do we put down the uptick in cases? Is it luck? Is it something about the conditions, transmissibility? What is it?
Well, there is always a bit of variation in numbers of cases that we will have. We do find we do tend to get more cases when there's a lot of viral respiratory illness around, which we know there is a lot at the moment. We did have last week a couple of linked cases, but as far as we know, all the other cases are not linked.
So can you explain, Dr. Flood, what is meningococcal? Can you describe it?
So the meningococcal bacteria lives in the nose and throat of a proportion of the population, and then in some people, that bug will then invade their body and make them very unwell. And usually you get a septicemia, which is blood infection, or you get meningitis, which is infection of the lining of the brain and spinal cord. So it can make you very, very sick, and unfortunately some people will die.
What are the signs that people should look out for? Because you've got to act quickly if you're reacting badly to this, don't you?
That's right. It's very important if you think you or one of your family members or friends has meningococcal disease to get that person to hospital as soon as possible. So the symptoms to look out for are headache, fever, vomiting, neck stiffness and discomfort when looking at bright lights. Some people will develop a skin rash, but not all people will. And that rash might be tiny red or purple spots that soon spread and enlarge to look like fresh bruises. And in the later stage of illness, people might develop, be confused. And in children, the symptoms might be a little bit different. They might be a bit fretful, difficult to wake, and might refuse to eat. And another symptom that children might develop is leg pain and cold hands and feet, and a high-pitched or moaning cry. And children might also have a pale, blotchy or abnormally coloured skin. So we ask people that if they think one of their relatives or family or friends develop these sorts of symptoms, to get them checked out as soon as possible in a hospital.
And Dr. Flood, the vaccine that exists for it, that's, this is something that has been a hugely successful countermeasure to protect people from it. Is that something that you can get at any age if you're worried about it?
So the vaccine is funded. It's the two in infants. You can get the meningococcal ACWY vaccine and the meningococcal B vaccine, and then in teenagers, it's also funded those same vaccines in Year 10 at high school. If people would like to purchase the vaccine, they can purchase them if they're not in one of the eligible age groups.
Well, Dr. Flood, thank you. We appreciate it. It's valuable information. Obviously, what the risk factors mean there's increased incidence for 2023. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Dr. Louise Flood, the Director of Disease Prevention and Control, SA Health.
Horrible thing. And the fact that you can have no sort of obvious physical signs, because I think everyone associates it with, having spots or something like that. It's a scary thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the problem is some of those symptoms are dismissible.
Yeah.
Typically. Oh, I got a bit of a sore, vomiting and sore throat. Oh, I've probably got some kind of
bug.
Which, you do.
Yes.
Just happen to be a really, really serious one.
Yeah.
Behind Closed Doors is coming up in just a moment, but first traffic.
Thanks, Will. Got a two-car collision to look out for at Salisbury East Bridge Road near Winvale Drive. First, what do I slowing things up today at Ridgehaven? This one's on North East Road near Shepherd Street with the lane closed. Busy, Park Terrace at North Adelaide. Slow, Nottage Terrace at Medindi with cameras Kester's Road, Para Hills West. I've got one right now, Commercial Road at Port Nunga South. Still logging in business receipts manually? With MYOB, you can easily track expenses by snapping a pic of them as they happen. Try MYOB for free today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA Mornings today, a leading union calling for big profits to be turned over to affordable housing. And a new study finds 9 out of 10 people have encountered a scam in the last year. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company from 9.
G'day, it's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. Just wanted to make sure you knew that our milk only comes from SA dairy farmers. So make sure the milk you buy is only from SA dairy farms. Because you see, no matter how tough it gets out there, our dairy farmers always put you first. So let's support them. Look for FIVEAA Milk Company products in your supermarket. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
5AA's Business Lounge with Leith Forrest.
So in the Business Lounge today, I'm joined by an inspirational man who is a big fan of Arbor Vitae. Welcome, Peter Wilson.
G'day, Leith.
Hey, I know you've been using Arbor Vitae since 2018. Tell us about it.
It has completely changed my life. It's like liquid gold to me. My joint pain has completely disappeared. My mobility is so much better, and the reduction in inflammation is amazing.
After trialling and failing, Peter, with other treatments, you tried Arbor Vitae and even kept a pain diary. How did that work out for you?
I was using various things and trying different things, so it was just continuously getting worse and worse until such time as I decided that I had to find something that would work. I did nothing else other than a Google search, actually, and came across Arbor Vitae, and it definitely made a difference to my joint pain within a few weeks.
Peter, I'm so glad Arbor Vitae has given you back your life. Arbor Vitae is available in chemists and health food stores all over Adelaide. For a full list of stockists or to buy it online direct, go to arborvitae.com.au. That's arb or vitae.com.au. Or you can give the Arbor Vitae team a call and place your order over the phone on 1300 879 863. That's 1300 879 863. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Hi Adelaide, this is Tom Burlinson. Start spreading the news. I'm proud to present my brand new show, all of Sinatra's greatest hits. That's right. Performed live as always with my world-class big band. And did it Tickets on sale now.
Tom Burlinson sings Sinatra, the Capri Theatre, Saturday, September 16. Book now, capri.org.au.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry Motor 5. State-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
8 to 9, some breaking news out of West Lakes. The Adelaide Football Club's leading ever goal kicker, Taylor Walker, has just announced that he will be coming back for a 17th season next year.
Good on him.
33-year-old signing a 1-year contract extension. He really put it beyond doubt with his play this year. He's kicked
54 goals.
Yep.
Averaging 3 a game.
590 goals over the course of his career.
He's close to being in career best form.
255 games. There's a view at West Lakes then in fact his form hasn't improved, that the team around him has improved, and he's always been this good, but he's finally playing in a side that gets him some delivery.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty thankless job being the key forward and the best forward in a rubbish team, and that's what he's been for a number of years. So now in a side that's at times shown a bit more than that, he's been able to show how good he is, and it would have been the easiest decision in the world to bring him back, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
Great story. Given a year ago, I don't think we would have been imagining we were necessarily going to be sitting there having this conversation.
Well, he said as much himself a few weeks ago, particularly after the racism drama that he had a few years ago, which he owned up and took ownership of that and changed his ways and recognised it. And it was I think there's people are fallible. People make mistakes. He said at the time that at that time he wondered if he had a future at all in football. And I think you got to give people second chances in life. And the way he sort of has held himself since then, I think it was a big learning experience for him. But he's just been such a great leader on the field. And I thought too, at his 250th, that sort of party atmosphere that night against West Coast, one of the most moving things about that, though, was the amount of stuff that he does, and it's all unheralded behind the scenes. There were so many kids with special needs down there in the rooms that night, and, having a friendship with those kids, that means the world to them. And he's not out there doing it for publicity. It's just something that he does, visiting kids with cancer and, kids with Down syndrome, kids with different issues. And for those kids, the fact that he's spent so long doing that sort of stuff is a credit to him, I think.
Still a silly chance of winning the Coleman this year as well.
Yeah, well.
7 goals back now from Charlie Curnow, but he is in second position, 6 goals clear of Nick Larkey, which is pretty remarkable when you consider the Crows' fortunes of late have been. More on that on the Sports Show tonight. Right now, we're going behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed,
The FIVEAA Gardening Show with Mike Keelan and Brad Aldridge.
Oh, here we are again. Fantastic. Look out, here he is. He's the guru himself, Michael Keelan. How are you?
Right, I'm good, thanks. Brad, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, Michael. Can't complain. Wouldn't do any good if you did. Oh, yeah.
No, that's right. Well, a lot of things to talk about this morning, and it's great listening to me on the radio, isn't it, this time of the year, because it makes people feel so much better because I get the start of the seasons a little bit wrong, which means there's only 4 weeks to go until spring.
Oh, that's pretty good, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, you see how much better you feel now.
I do, Michael, I do. And with that in mind, why don't you just say that it's spring already, Michael, and then we'll start feeling even better.
Yes, well, that's a good idea too. But today we're going to be talking about a lot of things, and one of those things, Brad, is hemp.
All right, the old hemp, yeah.
Yes, that's right. And the number of different uses there are for hemp is quite amazing. We're going to be talking to Linda from a local border town company called Good Country Hemp, and she's going to come on and tell us a bit later on about all the fabulous uses that hemp is good for.
Yeah, that's right. And she's going to tell us that it's got nothing to do with what will get you high, Michael.
Yes, that's right, Brad. She'll tell us right from the start that there's no drug component to it and that it's used mainly for its fibres and nutritional benefits.
Yeah.
It's very nutritional. The hemp seeds and the hemp oil are used for healthy lifestyles, and they make protein powder out of the hemp.
Oh, that's great, isn't it, Michael? And they're also using hemp for making plastics, Michael. And Mercedes and Audi are using it in their cars.
Yeah, that's right. And they make clothing out of hemp as well. And you can sprinkle the seeds on your rice bubbles in the morning. And,
yeah, that's right, Michael. But my question is, even with all that information,
right,
will that stop you and me, Michael, from making very obvious drug jokes?
No, Brad, it won't.
Oh, I didn't think so. In fact, I know Mercedes are using hemp to put in their cars, but I've known a few old combi vans that have had a lot of hemp in them too, Michael, but that's another story.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Up in smoke with Cheech and Chong.
Oh, rice bubbles, snap, crackle, pop, and pass out.
That's not one for the movie bowl, is it? I don't think Luce would find Up in Smoke very funny.
I wouldn't have thought.
In fact, I don't think that film's very funny at all. I think you need to have smoked your body weight in cannabis to get a giggle out of it, which I guess was part of the whole shtick of it, though, the old Cheech and Chong.
Big thanks to all your contributions over the course of the morning. 8223 on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, and via the Dutton's text line. Volkswagen Tiguan All-Space, the 7-seater that's perfect for weekends away, camping trips and the crazy Saturday sports rush. We're out of time. Bat Pantelis is coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow morning.
See you then.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Your energy saving solutions can connect you with the SA